What? Okay. Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the Berlin Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Today is February 5th, 2026. I'm going to call the meeting to order at what we have. It's 6:04, and I'll ask everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, if you please. Which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Now on for the roll call. Is Brian online? I don't know. Scott is. Oh, good. Scott is here. Yay. Okay. Hold on. We're going to do the roll call now. All right, so why don't I'll just, okay. Sound off, like Ranger Andy.
June Daly present.
Tim Zigmont present.
Diane Jorsey present.
Joan Veely present.
Millard present.
And John Dyken asked to be excused.
And Steve Biella.
Scott.
And, yes, and Scott Hamill, are you here?
Scott is remote.
Okay, thank
But
you.
I'm here.
And Brian Rogan, I didn't hear from Brian, so he's either late or excused. I don't know.
Did you say last time?
I can't remember. I remember Steve Biella saying something, but it might have been him. That's okay. Well, yeah, might have been him. Yeah. All righty. Approval of the minutes for the January 15th. We had a special meeting. At their meeting was June Daly, Tim Zigmont, Diane Jorsey, myself, Brian Rogan, Andra Millard, John Dyken, and Stephen Biella. So out of the ones that are here, do we all have a chance to review the minutes, or are there any corrections for those minutes that need to be made?
No,
Wait. Well,
I
all right, well, Miss Jorsey seems to,
I just want to ask for one correction. On page 4, the second to the last paragraph says Commissioner Jorsey stated the applicant does not hold an arborist license, which has been represented. The way that the meeting occurred was that the Economic Development Director offered that the applicant was a licensed arborist or was an arborist, and I asked for clarification on that.
okay,
Otherwise, no corrections noted.
all right. Okay. All right,
And
so,
so I'll make a motion to approve with those changes.
okay, terrific. We have a motion. Do we have a second? All right, a second by Mr. Zigmont. Further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, so moved. All right, moving on, we have the election of officers. Every year in February, at the beginning of the first meeting of the month, we have our election of officers for chairperson, vice chair, and secretary. So with that being said, I guess we'll open the nominations for the chair.
I will nominate Joan Veely as chair.
Second. And we have a second by Ms. Miller. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, I would ask the temporary secretary, Ms. Millard, to cast one vote. Joan Veely for chair.
Oh.
Yeah.
Joan Bailey for chair.
Okay. For vice chair, opening the nominations for vice chair.
You can't hear him.
Oh, I'm sorry, Scott Hamill? Can't hear you. Okay. All right. Okay. So for vice chair, do we have any nominations?
I nominate Diane Jorsey.
We have a nomination for Diane Jorsey. Do we have a second? Do we have a second from Scott Hamill or Tim
Second it.
Zigmont? Okay, Scott Hamill had the second. Any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll ask the temporary secretary, Ms. Miller, to cast a vote for Diane
Diane.
Jorsey.
Jorsy, vice chair.
Terrific, thank you. Now for the secretary. Do we have a nomination for secretary?
I nominate Brian Rogan,
Okay,
secretary.
all right. Do we have a second?
I'll
For
second
Brian-
it.
Okay, Scott Hamill seconds for Brian Rogan for secretary. Any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll ask the secretary to cast one vote for Brian Rogan for secretary. What?
He's not here to accept. That's.
Well, that's what he gets for missing
Yep,
meetings.
too bad.
I understand.
He gets the pleasure again.
Procedural thing. He's not,
He's not.
the B secretary did a good job, but
You want to be secretary?
no, he does.
Oh, well, I think he would have called me. Oh, okay.
So I might suggest that if we hear from the town clerk that the secretary position needs to be revoted on once he accepts the
Mhm.
nomination. Otherwise, I would say at this point, you could go forward with that
Okay,
motion if you feel that's appropriate. And then if they tell us you have to do it again, then
Yeah.
we'll
do it again.
ask you to do it again.
Okay, so Andrew, we want to cast that one vote for him?
Vote for Brian Rogan for secretary.
Okay, terrific. And thank you, everyone. Yay. Moving on to commission business. We have a bond release reduction, a request by Thomas Kokomo for the release of the erosion control bond of $11,770 being held for 57 Southington Road, Christopher Way. Is that for the whole road?
No, so last month, the road and the bond was released for, the subdivision bond has been released. The road has been accepted. You released the other bonds. We then found that this soil erosion control bond from the beginning of the project, when the project started, still exists. So this is the bonding for that. That site is all vegetated, done. The subdivision is completed. The town has accepted the subdivision as a new public road. And engineering has they said it's fine to be released.
Okay,
Just needed to be acted on separately. We didn't realize there were two different ones when we had the earlier number.
okay.
I'll make a motion to release the erosion control bond in the amount of $11,770 for 57 Southington Road, Christopher Way.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Jorsey. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Daly. Further discussion on the matter? Then all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved. And the next item is the 824 referral for Augustus Moore, but I understand they've asked for a postponement.
Yeah, town staff has asked for this to be postponed. There's more information to be coming on this, like for a better decision.
Okay, so we're postponing it to, where are we? February?
Good if you just postpone it till staff reschedules it. There's some
Great.
documents, some other paperwork all being worked on, so just not quite sure.
Okay,
Do you need a motion for that?
As well.
I'll make a motion to postpone the Section 824 referral for Augustus Moore till staff schedules it on a future agenda.
okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Zigmont. Further discussion on this item? Then all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved. Moving into the public hearings, I believe we have a call that has to be read to the record. See,
Yeah,
the temp,
Oh,
no,
yeah, maybe the call for the hotel might not have.
and I think that's
Yeah.
the call for, is that for the hotel? Yeah,
The other one's open already.
Yeah.
Paul Pryor,
oh, for Paul Pryor?
the hotel and,
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
because one of them's not going to be,
okay, Town of
Okay.
Berlin Planning and Zoning Commission, notice of public hearings. The Berlin Planning and Zoning Commission will hold public hearings at a regular meeting on Thursday, February 5th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the Town Council Chambers, Berlin Town Hall, 240 Kensington Road, Berlin, Connecticut. Interested parties may join the meeting and participate in public hearings in person or remotely as provided below. 1, modification to special permit with site plan amendment application of HRP Hospitality LLC for a Phase 5 hotel construction and use at 404 Berlin Turnpike, map block lot 10-2-83-13C, property of BT 2008 LLC in the BTD zone. 2, re-subdivision application of Paul Pryor Jr. for a 2-lot re-subdivision at 0 Heritage Drive, map block lot 25-1-17-15K1 in the R86 zone. Applications and related meeting materials are available at the Planning and Zoning Department, Berlin Town Hall, 240 Kensington Road, Berlin, Connecticut, and remote access to this meeting is available by Zoom video conference, and there's a link provided. And this is submitted by Brian Rogan, Secretary, Berlin Planning and Zoning Commission, and was run in the New Britain Herald Legal Notices Classified Advertising on Friday, January 23rd and Friday, January 30th, 2026, and posted with the Berlin Town Clerk on Friday, January 16th, 2026.
Thank you, Diane. Under public hearings, our first item is a text amendment application of Arbor Farms LLC to amend the Berlin zoning regulations 11C agricultural to expand the definition of agricultural to include 11C 1A and I, which would be agricultural or agricultural accessory services. And this is something that we opened and started talking about. I think the seated members at the time were Ms. Daly, Mr. Zigmont, Jorsey, myself, Ms. Millard, Mr. Dyken, and Mr. Biella, but we have pretty much all of us here. So we can continue with this text amendment. All right, and this is at the Arbor Farms. Okay,
So for the record, whether or not Scott came up to speed on this or will be accused from this, Commissioner.
yeah. Well, Scott Hamill, did you have a chance to listen to the YouTube video for the public hearings last go round? Because I know that you had a passing in the family, so you weren't able to attend. Were you able to catch up with this item on the text amendments for the Arbor Farms?
Madam Chair, I did not, to be quite honest with you.
Okay,
I have a quorum without.
okay, we still have a quorum, so we're all right. Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. You could sit this one out, Scotty. All right. Hi. How are you today?
Can I just real quick?
Yes.
With the applicant on revising some language along with councils. And you should have gotten all that earlier this week. Didn't get an email.
We didn't get anything until this afternoon.
Didn't have a chance to even.
Sorry, I wasn't.
Well, no. Listen, Maureen, we understand and
Bring it up on the screen. We were to incorporate some of the comments made during the last meeting as well as concerns of the applicant. What we were hearing, some of the staff concerns to have edited language to propose. So that's what we'll hopefully be sharing on the screen if we can bring it up, and then we'll and I think the applicant has something to say. You know, they may have comments either way on some of
Okay.
it because staff did pulling it all together after our meeting. So maybe or two that they'd like to discuss further with the commission as well.
okay. All right. All right. Now I'm going to say good evening. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Thank you.
Pardon my dress, we had a fire in our house and I don't.
Oh, no. And you're here?
Yes, I am. I have responsibilities.
Oh, my God.
Everybody's fine and it's just an inconvenience, but we're all good.
Okay.
You have the text in front of you?
No, we do not. So I'm going to ask you just to state your name and address for the record. So at least we get that.
Coleman Levy, I'm an attorney and I represent the applicant, okay?
Okay.
So I think it's really critical. Let me just make this comment. in a meeting with the professional staff, the planners, made the revisions to incorporate your concerns that were brought up at the initial public hearing, okay? And we addressed that with regard to the text itself. And then if you look further with regard to the requirements that you get a second bite at the apple with regard to the special permit requirement. So we think, and I think that we've addressed all of the issues that you brought up. And in addition to that, creating it as a special permit gives you that opportunity to impose certain conditions that you might require with regard to this application or any other application that is made. But I think it's really critical. The wording is up there. I'd be happy to read it to you, okay? But I think it's a lot more beneficial if you read it. But I'll read it so you'll have an understanding of what we said. This is under A-8.1 or agricultural supplemental uses. Uses that are complementary to the principal use of a farm to support the viability of the farm and which operation directly supports the primary agricultural use on site and in processing of agricultural, forestry, and organic material originating on site or off site. Services related to tree cultivation and harvesting, as well as the storage and garaging of related equipment and vehicles. Such use shall exclude specifically general contractor operations, construction yards, equipment depots unrelated to agriculture, or commercial pesticide operations and or storage. And then going on further, under special permit, agricultural supplemental uses provided that one, vehicles and equipment related to the supplemental use and not ordinarily used for the operation of the farm are adequately screened from adjacent properties to the satisfaction of the commission. Two, the commission may review and limit supplemental use operations, including location on the site, hours of operation, exterior lighting that may be generated by the supplemental use. Three, the use is supplemental to the agricultural use and shall not exceed 1 acre or 25% of the site, whichever is less. Next, no commercial vehicle or equipment dedicated to the supplemental use are regularly parked or stored in the front yard. And last, no signage advertising the supplemental use is permitted. And I think those are items that were discussed at the initial public hearing. And I really think with the professionals, our land use planners, professional staff came up with this wording, and we totally support it and would greatly and hope that it meets your needs and wants and will be implemented.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
The next page.
Here, you want me just to pass these on down?
So the first one is the original text. You want to skip to the next page? Is where I go. Edited text is. You did get the mention. I can't get them.
I'm sorry, June, I'm June.
Hmm,
You have a question?
Maureen, yeah, under the agricultural C, the AI, I'm curious what um it says such use shall exclude general contractor operations. So what would that exclude? Like giving me some ideas.
Like, a contractor that may have, um, general contractor with building material supplies, excavation equipment that wouldn't be related to a tree removal, but rather, your typical backhoes and bulldozers and whatnot that you would need for a contractor yard might have. And that's, so we do have the category of uses throughout the regulations on other zones for contractor yard. This is really saying that it's not excluding the use as a contractor yard.
Company too.
Could be a paving
Yeah.
company, it could be, yeah, I would say site work for the most part, but it could also be, some interior, although we do have another category that's a building. A building. Yeah, it's not called building. The contractor yard is the one we're talking about. There's another category that's building services, which are more the HVAC type contractors. Stuff, and it would exclude those as well, but it's the contractor yard that, is something that we might get inquiries for open land to store vehicles and equipment.
Yeah, I got a question.
All right, go ahead, Mr.
Uh,
Zigmont.
I, the three I's. The supplemental agriculture use shall not exceed 1 acre or 25% of the site, whichever's less.
Which page are you on? Can you help me
This
out?
is page, okay,
There was
Oh, this is the third page?
yeah,
Okay,
3 and 3.
Yeah.
and 3.
You did have a discussion at the last meeting with regard to amount of space on a property that might be used for the supplemental use. This is an applicant-driven, text amendment. And, one of the concerns was how much acreage or how much of a site could be overtaken if you're talking, there was, I think the original text said 25%. It didn't limit it to the 1 acre. It was not more than 25% of the total parcel. If, for instance, we use round numbers, you have a 100-acre site, that means 25 acres could be used. Instead, the applicant suggested that it be limited to 1 acre if you have a big enough site for it to be 1 acre.
That's my question.
Or 25%, whichever is less.
My question is to 25%, because there's so large pieces out there. Okay, there's 40-acre pieces and there's 100-acre pieces.
make sure you're using your mic.
I got,
Okay,
it's on.
I just want to make sure
Uh,
everyone can hear.
And the problem is that when you go with 100-acre pieces, you're talking 25 acres of supplemental thing. Now the supplemental allows a lot of little different things. And on 25 acres, that be something that we don't want to have. On 25 acres is a supplemental item of 25 acres big, you know,
But the verbiage is 1 acre or 25%, whichever's less.
right, whichever's less.
Be a quarter, if you only had 1 acre, which I don't know. that-
Well,
I don't know. I'm-
1 acre, but 1 acre, you'd only be allowed a quarter acre.
This is
If-
an explanation. If it's 5 acres, it's 1 acre, okay? If
Right.
it's 4 acres, it's 25% of 4 acres, so it's gonna be less than an acre. It's whatever is less, okay? So if you have 100 acres and It can't exceed 1 acre.
Okay. Diane? Did
I
you?
have a few thoughts, but with respect to this discussion, could there be something added in there to give the commission discretion to increase greater than 1 acre depending on the use or circumstance?
So I don't believe that the applicant has any objection to that, but you should ask the applicant that. I think that certainly you could add some discretionary language at the end of that provision.
Okay.
If you so desire. I see sort of a shaking of a head of agreement, so.
We're considering this for all agricultural properties.
This is not our restriction. You can put in any wording you wish, okay, with regard to that. It doesn't make any difference to us, okay?
Mhm.
The fact of the matter is, all of those requirements that are set there, we satisfy with no difficulty whatsoever.
Mhm.
So any way you wish to modify the wording to satisfy your need, basically, unless you tell us we can't operate, that will not have any objection, okay? Because basically the wording that was all here, it was prepared by your staff, okay? And they asked us, was it okay with us? And we said,
You're
"Good
okay
to
with
go.
it?
Let's go.
You're
Did
okay
you
with
vote on it? Let's
Okay.
go."
So I take on that, on adding the discretion for the commission is that may put the commission in a position where there's pressure to approve something bigger. It's too unknown, I think, at this point. I mean, these numbers might not be, these numbers may not be what you agree with and that, but I feel like if there's, and I guess it depends on how it's worded. I can't off the top of my head think of wording that, gives the comfort, but if it, the sentence just ended with, unless modified by the commission, then when the applicant comes in and says, modify it, I want 25 acres of my land to be this use, this supplemental use. How's the commission defend that? Restricting it more? I'm a little concerned with that. And that's more the logistics of.
Yeah.
of
My,
the
my,
site
my
review.
question again is, you stated 100 acres, 25% is 25 acres.
Which is what you were concerned with at the last meeting.
25%.
Right, right. So, but,
Yeah.
is the
Five.
or less, the way that we want to say it? It's 1 acre, period, or is it, it's questionable, because when it says 25%, someone's going to read that and say, I got 100 acres, I want 25% of my property to be a supplemental item, okay? And that was the question in the last meeting, and it's still in my mind, and when you explained it, you said 100 acres, 25% is 25 acres, all right? Oh, no. But that's not how,
Jeff, so that covers that? Because it's
Yeah.
clear, that's clear language for interpretation, in my opinion.
okay,
And it does give that ability that if you have. Okay,
So,
I mean, you said just, if it's 1 acre,
back to Diane's.
if it's 1 acre, the largest
Some discretion.
supplemental thing is 1 acre. If that's what it is, then you want to say, well, 1 acre or less. Because if it's a half acre and you could fit that supplemental item on a half acre, well, okay, it's just, I don't know. It's just worrisome on my part, from the last meeting discussion, basically. That was an item that was questionable on my mind. And, if we wanted to say supplementals can be 1 acre,
Yeah.
do that.
I think Diane had some,
I have
wanna
some
expand
thoughts, but
on
I
it?
don't, I have thoughts, but I don't want to hijack the conversation. I think, personally, I think we're making this way more complicated than it needs to be, because on a personal level, I don't care if he parks his trucks on that property. The only thing that I think we would be concerned about would be that the trucks are basically out of sight or concealed. But I think that I get distracted a little bit by some of the proposed language in the first paragraph. I think the first sentence should be uses that are complementary to the principal use of a farm to support the viability of the farm and which operations directly support the primary agricultural use, period. And then the second sentence, services related to tree cultivation and harvesting, as well as the storage and garaging of related equipment and vehicles, is an incomplete sentence. I don't really understand that sentence at all. But I think by trying to restrict the supplemental uses to processing of agricultural, forestry, and organic material is going to cause us trouble down the road, as well as the reference to tree cultivation and harvesting, because there may be other agricultural support services that could fit that we're not thinking of.
The first one is, if you look at the not edited text, the original,
which is right above it
the first page,
Oh.
first page,
on the first page.
I left off 2 words when I cut and pasted,
That's okay.
are permitted. And that makes the sentence a whole sentence, I think. Services related to tree cultivation and harvesting are permitted, as well as the storage and garaging of related equipment and vehicles. And that are permitted, I think, is not in the second.
I just,
Just left off, so that was an edit, that was
s-
inadvertently done.
so, and then another thing, in section N2, the commission may review and limit supplemental use operation, including location on the site, hours of operation, exterior lighting that may be generated by the supplemental use. Some of those things are protected under the right to farm law, which I see that as being a potential conflict.
Can I ask for clarification, because it is for the supplemental use? So are you thinking that the supplemental use might fall within an agricultural category that would be protected?
Well,
So I'm trying to figure
so
where's the line.
that kind of goes back to the questions that I was asking at the last meeting about the distinction between the primary use. How is primary use determined? Because on this particular property, the supplemental uses that already exist were accepted as agricultural, but they, in my view, are more akin to garden supply center uses, which I see I see those uses as complementary to agriculture. But I guess, as when we're thinking about these other uses, that space is going to count towards the 1 acre. It would have to.
Now, the zoning enforcement officer in this town accepted that as agricultural. That's That's permitted. He signed off on it already. The only thing we're talking about right now that we're concerned, the commission is concerned about, is that Mr. Warren has a tree service, okay? And so I have a suggestion that you might want, if in the change here, where in the second line where it says use on site, take out and say including but not limited to processing of agricultural, forestry, and organic materials originating on site or off site, period. That's a grammatically correct sentence, and it gives latitude that it's not limited just to that.
If they're produced on site, it is agriculture. If somebody is harvesting timber on their own property and selling firewood that comes from their property, that's different than somebody that's removing trees from another property, bringing it back and processing it.
That's that's the accessory use that we're talking about, okay?
Mhm.
But the fact of the
Understood.
matter is, on this piece of property, for almost ever, they've been selling firewood, that they've been bringing the wood in onto the premises,
Mhm.
then cutting it and then selling it.
Yes,
They've been doing that with regard to mulch. They've been doing that with regard to topsoil. So, and that's happening in a number of other places in the town also.
yes.
Because Mr. Moran came forward to bring it, he shouldn't be penalized for that, okay? He wants it to be clear and succinct and not to be a problem. And that's why we've gone through this particular process, okay? We can go through this wording on and on and on and on and on, but you're gonna have a lot of discretion when it comes to the special permit as to what's gonna be done and how it's gonna be done, and you're gonna be able to put some controls into the situation. Unfortunately, we can go on and on.
I'm just trying to simplify something that I think we've made to be overly complicated. And so I don't really know what the solution is. I think, you mentioned the use of the property going back forever, and I think the issue that I take with it is that some of that use, the sales of the mulch and the sales of the firewood technically should have come before the town in some manner or fashion for approval, because it is not part of the existing agricultural activities. And that's where I get hung up on the distinction between garden supply center and agriculture.
But that's the problem of the town. In other words, the man is doing the business. He's been doing it. Nobody's complaining. Nobody's saying anything. It's not done. Why am I coming to the town? Nobody's complaining. If somebody complained, maybe I'd have to come to the town. But the fact of the matter is, Mr. Moran is coming to the town.
I understand.
Yeah.
He's coming to the town. He's putting it in front of you, okay? And he's asking for the proper permission. And then we go and we ask for the wording, okay? And the wording is brought forth by your professional staff, and it appears to be still not acceptable. So I don't have any response to that, okay? There has to be some support from your professionals who put it forth before you, okay? And I think they can get a special permit at the end of the day, because Mr. Warren, if you pass this, he has to come back to you. He has to come back to you.
June,
Just a response to that, and it's just a simple one. It's our responsibility to look at this and review it and to decide if it's something that is limited or does it, transfer on to another property at some other time. And so having it not acceptable is not really what you're hearing us discuss it and trying to find the best wording for it. So we appreciate our applicant and his efforts in doing the right thing. We understand that. That's not in question. We're just trying to make sure wording when it's final is in its best presentation.
The point that I'm making, and I agree with you, okay, is it's not our wording, okay?
Yeah.
It's the town's wording, okay?
And
And
then-
so,
Yeah.
Which was wording collaborative because we were trying to help the applicant facilitate. Staff was not in
Yeah.
deference to the applicant, but staff is not trying to not encourage you to have a discussion about the wording. I
well, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a discussion. That's not
would
what I'm saying.
make
Hang
a
on.
suggestion if you think, much like Commissioner Jorsey did, where she pointed out the sentences that she found problematic.
Yeah.
If perhaps we chunk this a little bit by, seeing how, having the commission having the discussion about maybe each aspect, so that if there are, say, under N, the 5 items listed, if they're worded in such a way that, you don't have comments on one of them's wording, then we can just focus on those parts that you're more concerned with, and what has maybe a more positive reaction to start with or negative. I guess I would start with, from the staff standpoint, one of the things we did based on the applicant's application was put it in as a special permit use, and I moved it there instead of having it part of the definition. We discussed that last month. But the commission may want to confirm or should confirm that they believe that the agricultural supplemental use, which that was a word change as well, supplemental as opposed to accessory, that the title of it, agricultural supplemental use, is appropriate. And then that it's appropriate to evaluate those this proposed supplemental use as a special permit use, or would you rather move it with its criteria to the site plan uses or as an as of right use? So that was one discussion you started last time about where it belonged, special permit or not. One, hit on that, and then each of those criteria, look at them and see if there's an issue with each one, and then see which ones are still things you'd like to discuss further.
I'm sorry, Tim.
Yep. With listening to Mrs. Jorsey, with our zoning regulations, what's been normal with our zoning regulations is that we're reactive to a item that's brought up to the town that's not to our regulations, and not proactive. Okay, so we don't go out there looking for items that are not are against our regulations. We react to someone questioning it. There's other spots besides this spot that out there that are doing stuff that not according to the regulations. And that's a problem. So the wording of these regulations, as soon as you took this regulation and go put something new in it, you opened up the whole regulation. Okay, every piece of wording in the whole regulations opened up. When you open up, you bring something on that regulation to change it, because this might go against this in the regulation, or what vice versa. And I don't know how to correct that problem, except that the town's got to get a little bit more proactive on the regulations. And that might take more personnel. It might do a lot of different things. But it's just, and the wording, you know, as was discussed here, is very important. And or not, whatever, you know, it's very important how that wording is to keep the regulations to where we want it, because that's stuff that happens. Oh, it's happened for years. It's been there for years. That doesn't mean that they could keep on doing it. They've been there for 40 years. It doesn't mean it's not against our regulations. It means that it got caught now. Okay, and that's the problem. Okay, now what do we do when it's got caught? Okay, that's the question. Okay, you know, and I hear the attorney, you know, getting a little upset when it was brought up that, well, this was here done doing this for years anyway.
That's,
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
But
hold on.
that's
You'll
a
have you'll have a chance.
that becomes to me, an excuse. Yeah, we could do it anything we want, and if we get away with it, we get away with it.
Okay.
Because I see that happening in other pieces of properties now, that we have spent hours here at this commission approving a project, and then as soon as the approvals are done, it's done different out on the site, and nothing ever happens. Okay. And one that I've been complaining for a long time now. Okay. But you know, no one brings up that plan again. And everything that we said in here, and we said that they must do this, they must do that, whatever. Okay. Don't listen to the tape recording and say what was approved. And now it just doesn't get things. So the zoning regulations are being reactive instead of proactive. And I like to see the zoning regulations be proactive and say, listen, you know, this can't happen. But that's my opinion, and something that I'm going to address later on.
Okay, thank you. Then I'm going to go to Maureen, then I'll come to the attorney.
Very quickly,
Yes.
I, just for the record, have to defend staff. We are chunking away at a lot of plans and applications, just so the commission knows we're chunking away at those that have gone outside their site plans, but that's a different topic and a different
Yeah.
this public hearing. However, you know, we do go back and look at the record, our zoning officer, and later in the meeting, you're going to hear about something that our building inspectors brought to our attention today. So, you know, it's an effort made by all the departments. As
Mhm.
far as the agricultural regulations in general, this commission, as well as the POCD Implementation Committee, has put as the next priority one of the looking at the agricultural regs in a more holistic manner for its next set of amendments to the agricultural regulations as a whole. In the meantime, they are obliged to be reactive to applicants and applications that come into the office. So we get an application that has to be dealt with, whether or not a study, perhaps a consultant, whatever it is, has had the time to do a rewrite or a reflective look at any particular section of the regulations. And that's just the obligation that the town is given through their planning and zoning commission, is to react to the applications that come in. What was attempted here was to be general enough, I think, so that it wasn't a regulation that said allow more in tree service.
Mhm.
But so general enough that it encompassed an industry, that particular type of use as a supplemental use, but would leave room for, if the agricultural regs aren't updated by the time the next person comes in with a supplemental use, leave enough room that they could propose modifications, an edit to the language for a supplemental use that farm desires, without it being a complete overhaul, because that is likely to take a consultant, an RFQ, an insult, and a false study to continue with the agricultural regulations, as was anticipated in 2016 when the agricultural regulations were revamped in kind of a phase 1. It was anticipated there would be a phase 2. We're just getting there.
Okay.
Phase 2.
And I, okay, and then to be fair to Attorney Levi,
Just wanna, we didn't get caught, okay?
yeah, oh,
We came forward because we saw that there was a potential issue,
yeah.
and that's why we've gone through this particular process.
Mhm.
It wasn't that we did something wrong and somebody came out and then we implemented this. We were proactive
Yeah.
in terms of doing it the correct way and to satisfy us and the needs of this community,
Yeah.
okay? And in pointing out what took place in the past, it wasn't that.
Well, yeah, it had nothing to do with you.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so whatever wording you wish to implement, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, that we're satisfied with that, okay?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, because I know that there has been, before, there has been problems with the property and there were sightings, but this is before your application. So I could see how it's sort of grown and morphed to what it is. I think it's interesting, the supplemental use. Ms. Jorsey and I were, and the commission at different times when we talked about, excuse me, agricultural regulations, we always talked about, you know, it used to be in the old days, if you had an apple farm or an orchard, you always knew that everyone's going to come around. You had the apple farm or orchard and it sustained you. But the world's a lot different now. So not only do you have to have the apple farm and the orchard, but you have to have something that comes in seasonal when the orchard is dormant. How do you keep the farm going? So I understand the supplemental uses to the agricultural thing. Me, myself, sitting here, I sort of feel like in a balance because I'm trying to do what's best for the agricultural aspect to maintain it, because I like the idea of farms and a little bit of open space and agriculture. But on the other hand, it's a fine line because I want to make sure that it just doesn't run away like a like a train. And then we have just wrecks all over the place. So,
I agree with you. And that's why when they said an acre limitation, it's
Yeah.
fine with us, okay?
Yeah.
We don't have a problem. There was other discussion about other situations. The fact of the matter is, farms are closing
yes.
historically in the United States and especially in Connecticut, okay? And the fact of the matter is there has to be a provision in many cases for supplemental income to maintain these farms, because the farm sitting by itself can't sustain itself. And the net result is they've been struggling for a long time and all of a sudden we're looking at a subdivision.
Yeah, no, I hear where you're going.
Chad is committed to the farm, okay? This is what he wants to do, okay? And we're dealing in this situation with 5 acres approximately, okay? And whatever restrictions you want and that are reasonable, he's willing to go along with. But the fact of the matter is, we can't do anything more for the wording, because whatever wording you want is fine with us.
Yeah. Okay. I will say that the idea of the supplemental accessory be a special permit use, I think that that's an excellent idea to the overall function of the farm. So it would need that extra layer of approval, especially since you have neighborhoods that are probably close by, wherever the farm may be, not specific to this location, but you want to take that into consideration. I do have one question, if I may, really quick. regarding the supplemental use. And if it's something to do with forestry or harvesting of trees and wood cutting and the such, would all of that activity, including the equipment, be confined to that 1 acre lot?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say the interpretation, however, if someone came in and they were foresting on their property, another property, they're doing forestry there, we would consider that the agricultural or the forestry, how forestry regulations fit into that. So it would not be.
Okay, so let me rephrase then. So
So
what,
it's the supplemental things, which is really
the supplemental,
basically the tree service that goes along with off-site work
mhm.
that affects the property. The vehicles and equipment that are going to be used for that.
So the vehicles, the
But if
equipment,
it's- if
the
it's
wood,
someplace else that if there's another parcel that is doing forestry on their land, as Commissioner Jorsey said, that's part of working that land.
oh, yeah, well, if it's forestry on their property, that's different than cutting a tree down and saying, I'll take that, bringing it, harvesting it and making firewood out of it and seasoning it. Okay, so
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that if you have if you have off-site wood that's coming in or that all is contained to that 1 acre, including the equipment.
And that's where the plan would come in that would have to be applied with
Yes. Oh,
their application for the special permit.
Yeah.
They would be doing, in your packet last month, you have, his general layout, which would,
yes.
he's gonna have to tweak that probably a little bit, at least make
Oh,
it
yeah.
more clear, but, that's where that comes in, where on the site these activities are going to happen. And that's where we then went to the size of the amount of land dedicated to that other use. So, you may not find it to be an entire 5 acre parcel. This is not picking on you, but the 5 acre parcel be all the bins with all the garden center supplies or landscape supplies. It's not for all landscape supplies where you've got your mulch and your red rocks and your green rocks and your
Mhm.
psychedelic rocks, whatever, and that are going across the whole place and filling it up. You'll have the site plan review that goes with that special permit too, and that's the discussion of whether you limit the area on the site that's.
So just for consideration, with respect to the 1 acre or 25% of the site, there's another parcel in town. We granted approval for a building to be constructed for processing of firewood. The wood comes from off-site. The parcel is not large enough, nor are there enough trees on the parcel for it to be forestry practices on the property. But the volume of wood that's piled on the property is quite impressive.
Greater than the 1 acre?
It's not greater than the 1 acre, but if it's considered, because it's not part of the agricultural business, this particular property is already overused with other activities. But now it's sort of compounded by this mountain of logs that are coming in from off-site. It certainly is less than 1 acre. But it's not, it's part of the supplemental. So my reason for mentioning this is because what we're considering is only vehicles. We're not considering the rest of the supplemental. So, and again, it affects every property.
Yes, Attorney Levy.
I have to disagree. with the situation, because with regard to the zoning enforcement officer, he approved wood, mulch, and the topsoil as part of the agricultural use, because there was no supplemental. So he's approved that already. The only thing that we're talking about now in reality is that some of the equipment, there is some equipment that's used by the farm and used by the tree service, okay? If the tree service wasn't there, this equipment would be used on farm. And secondly, the equipment that's used specifically and only for the tree service would be all within that 1 acre. And in this situation, it's going to be housed inside. It's not going to be outside. It's going to be in the building, okay? It's going to be built on the site. So the fact of the matter is, according to the town, the firewood is not supplemental. It's accepted, and it can be, and it's in the zone to be used, because that's how they signed off on it. The only reason we're coming here is we did this is because trucks are gonna, 1 or 2 trucks will come in the evening, be parked inside, and in the morning they'll leave, and that'll be it. That's the whole situation.
Wow. We are in public hearing, so is there anyone online who has any questions? Is there anyone in the audience who has any questions or comments?
I guess I should, just circle back to, in the PO, just for the record. I don't think we got to it last month. In the 2023 POCD, on page 103, one of the priorities is the preservation of Berlin's farms is critical to the town's identity, and every effort needs to be made for the town to support the viability of its farms. One of the strategies related to that is strategy number 5, which is review and revise the zoning regulations as appropriate to allow farms to engage in accessory uses that are complementary to the principal uses of farm, and look to the farms, to allowing farms to engage in accessory uses that are complementary to the agricultural uses mentioned again on page 106. So I just wanted to circle through to the POCD. I think we had no objection. I'm not sure the comments from the regional, but I'm pretty sure they came in as no
No comment, yeah.
with the regional plan, and just wanted those on the record.
Diane or Andra, do you have a question, comment?
I'm not sure I want to say,
Yeah.
I just have to think twice about this, but I, as I said earlier, I have no objection to the parking of the vehicles on this particular parcel. And I wholeheartedly support what the POCD is instructing us to do in support of agriculture. I think part of the issue may be the size of both this parcel and the other parcel that I have in my mind, which both are non-conforming to our existing farm regulations, size-wise, but they were pre-existing to the 10-acre requirement. Brian?
Yeah, well, sure. You can move, or he can move.
So I think that, if Brian's recusing himself again.
Okay,
For the record, Brian Rogan just entered the meeting at 7:30, 7:10.
7:10.
However, has recused himself and left the room for this public hearing.
Okay.
So I do think that we can simplify the language so that it's maybe more straightforward.
Okay.
So you read a sentence earlier that I wasn't able to write down quickly enough. I'm wondering.
Oh, you just have to cross something out.
Up with your proposed, what you would.
So
to
that
this-
was
to this
page
section,
2.
That language instead?
Page
yeah, so the first
The definition?
in the definition, the first sentence defining the supplemental uses, uses that are complementary to the principal use of a farm to support the viability of the farm and which operations directly support the primary agricultural use, period. Strike the rest of that sentence. And I don't think we need the second sentence. But maybe,
You mean
The
this?
sentence should read, or would have read if I cut and pasted right. Services related to tree cultivation and harvesting are permitted as well as the storage and garaging of related equipment and vehicles. It's the are
So-
permitted that I left out.
yeah, so that's fine with the are permitted. I just was concerned that tree cultivation and harvesting was maybe limiting. Right. Right. So related, you could say related services might include or may include tree cultivation and harvesting.
Say again, Alexa?
You said an option is to just delete it. What's the point of having it? What's
Mm-hmm.
the point of just giving one example of what the use could be?
And you don't want the one example to be limiting or restrictive.
It's up to you.
That I suggested,
Which was,
taking the word "and" out in the second line. Say including but not limited to, and then continue the rest of it.
we're on page 2.
No, we're in the definition, but on the second sentence.
I understand that. I'm saying in the second line at the end, take the word "and" out. And say including but not limited to, and then proceed with the third line. So
And-
it's not a limiting. You have a much broader span.
We're talking about striking most of the third line.
Then you can include it. With regard to the wording that I just said, it gives you an indication of things that can be done. But it's not limited to that.
So you're suggesting that the second sentence after the direct support for primary agricultural use, period,
So, no,
you would be
sorry.
including?
Delete the word "and," then say including but not limited to processing of agricultural, forestry, and organic materials, blah, blah, blah. And then
So-
continue on.
So can I just
Yes, Attorney
think where
Coppola.
he's going with this? So, where, Commissioner Dorsey had suggested ending, it would be a comma, including but not limited to processing of agricultural, forestry, and organic material originating on-site or off-site, comma, services related to tree cultivation and harvesting, comma, storage and garaging of related equipment and vehicles. Period. So you're giving 3 examples, is what he's saying.
Well, so you're the attorney. Do you find that helpful to clarify or?
Does that muddy the water?
One of the things that
Am I going to
Maureen
have
said
tree
at
harvesting people all over the place?
Maureen said at the very beginning that what staff attempted to do was make it general enough so as not to be limiting. But you know, again, you know, she was trying to get you to have a discussion. Do you
Worked.
do the fact
I have a
that
headache.
there's specific examples being given, and you know, a comma, again, what I suggested, right? Separating each activity by comma, okay? And I think that Attorney Levy made a very good suggestion that if you're worried about whether it's going to be too limiting or whether it's going to be too broad by saying including but not limited to, you know, that has the circumstance of giving generalization as well, but you're providing specific examples of things that you would allow. But that doesn't mean that that language, and I don't think it in any way suggests that it may not in the future encompass other things that may become customary, right? So I don't really see a problem with that. I guess what you really do want to think about, though, you do have specific exclusions. Are there other things that you do want to exclude? I think that that's a separate discussion point. As far as, to me, I don't, N3, I don't know what the 25% really serves. If you want to just say, end it shall not exceed 1 acre.
Yeah. No, that's my, that's,
And I think that that's what a couple of the commissioners are.
that. I got one question that just came up in my mind is what is supplemental to the agriculture and on the property? Okay, the property produces trees or the property produces vegetables, whatever the farm use is, cows, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the farm use is, what is supplemental to that farm? Okay, bringing in an outside item, not supplemental to the farm, is a different thing. Bringing in trees, cutting them up to firewood and everything else is not supplemental to that farm because it's not a tree farm. So that's the question my mind is, what's supplemental? No one in this commission is against farming and doesn't want them to make money and everything else. But when you're doing words like this stuff, supplemental, bringing stuff from other sources onto the farm is a question, you know?
So one thing that came to mind, because I've had it occur on 3 different occasions in one town, is material coming in to be crushed, whether it's brick, stone to be crushed, you know, from out of state, huge piles of, you know, that type of material. That's one thing that I thought of. I'm guessing that you don't want to, probably do not want to allow that. So that could potentially be another exclusion. But that's why I was trying to point you in that direction too. You know, that offsite issue is certainly dealt with differently by different towns. You know, some towns feel, some commissions feel very strongly that you know, they don't want somebody to be taking in a huge amount of material from out of state or offsite.
And we had that situation here in the commission before with stone you just brought up. Someone wanted to put a stone crusher in, you know, makes noise and
Makes
and dust and all that stuff, right? And it wasn't supplemental to the land. And that's the question that I have. What is supplementals? It's growing supplies or fertilizer to make the crop grow better. That's maybe supplemental, but you know,
Go ahead, Diane.
Well, I was going to say, Mr. Levy is representing, and we know that our own zoning enforcement officer has accepted the firewood sales, at least from wood process that comes from off-site as agricultural. I think that kind of gets us into a bind.
Yeah, I don't know how that
Um,
happened, but
Think that he did find, and I would need to confirm with him, but I think we found some record of, some, lack of a better word, I'm gonna use landscape materials that were gonna be allowed on that site, were signed off on by a previous planner.
For sale, you mean?
Yeah, that he had where he had wood chips and things like that. So I don't know where the wood, sales of wood came in. I do know that that was, I recall that being a point of discussion where we had another site on town, a lemonade stand, so to speak, of wood that was being dealt with. But again, that was a previous planner to me while I was assistant in the office. So, I don't know that particular history, but if I remember a recent conversation, there was some indication that those were signed off on, as allowed.
Well,
Rostrum.
so if that's been,
And
historically, the, how that's been interpreted, that's helpful because I don't think before we read that, the zoning enforcement officer, signed off on these things, I was never under the impression that those uses had ever been approved.
mm,
I mean, and I can look further into that as far as the history of this site
But to,
and any other uses, because I don't want to misspeak and I don't want to, but I feel like there was ambiguity.
But
Whether it was
to-
allowed at the Bostrom Farm.
to Jennifer's point, an activity like shredding wood or, chipping and mulching or that could be a very loud and disruptive thing to
dusty,
a
dirty.
budding properties.
Yeah.
And so it comes back once again to the size of the property. It wouldn't necessarily be offensive if it were on a larger parcel and separated from residences.
And I think that that's why the supplemental use
Mhm.
is being suggested to be in a special permit, because it would have to have that approval from the commission. Okay, I think we've talked this thing through.
I just think that the definition of supplementary to the agriculture should be determined what supplementary to the agriculture property is. Uh, like I said, bringing in foreign stuff to the property that's not supplemental to that property is is not supplemental. I understand the history and everything else. But I think the definition of if you go put a supplementary thing into the zoning,
Well, there's a distinction between supplemental and complementary, right?
Yeah.
So a farm might want to have complementary sales of products to supplement the farm income. I mean, the idea is to supplement the business that the farm does.
yes.
So in this case, because the definition does say agriculture supplemental uses, and then the definition starts with uses that are complementary, is there a different term you'd like to use as A1, or is it as the terminology under agriculture, or does that actually suffice because it does bring in those two elements? We, staff, but our interpretation was that would bring in the two elements, but of course the commission. Been doing this a long time. You have lots of words in your toolbox.
I'm okay with it. I just don't, I think we've again, I think we overly complicated it.
And
And the simpler, the better.
And I also think that the goal here is the applicant's application for what they're applying as a specific supplemental use. If the language gets modified more generally, it's still a use that's a special permit use, so the commission gets to evaluate what that use is at the time it comes in. If someone, I can't think of something outrageous, I don't know what to think of. But if someone comes in for a special permit that it isn't encompassed, again, they could come in for a regulation change as well to add more supplemental uses. Perhaps when the regulations get analyzed for an overhaul, this section would be could be expanded. And or you can decide, you want to do something now, although I think that's off topic of the application itself, which is this applicant brought before you uses that relate to tree cultivation and harvesting, or services related to offsite tree cultivation and harvesting. And so I would encourage the commission to move forward with that in mind in the overhaul coming at that time, or other supplemental uses coming when, because we can't, I don't think, and I think you brought it up at the last meeting, several of you mentioned farms doing things without mentioning what they were doing. They already know that it's been going on probably since the 50s, the 1950s, that is. And we don't know that they have those supplemental uses. So to try to assume what those supplemental uses are prior to, for instance, I would imagine when we do look at the regs, one of the things we talked about doing for that study would be sending out a survey to the farms and asking them about what they do or their operations or what they could see as something that would help them. And that would be part of the survey at that time. And then the farmers will tell us what makes sense on farms in center of Connecticut in this decade.
So, yeah,
Did
Okay.
did I miss something? Because this application before us was just the zoning,
Text amendment.
the text amendment, okay? But then I hear of a building being built, any structures being built on the property. Does that have to come to us?
Be a special permit will have to come back with a site plan.
Okay, because
Same time, farms are by right allowed to put up certain buildings and structures, and
supplemental to their,
so the building itself may not be part of that, of your purview, unless it's part of the accessory use, which he has indicated it likely will be because there's a store inside of it. But if he asks for a permit to get a farm building, it's a simple building permit review.
that's my
with
only
the
thinking, that
zoning
it,
staff.
the supplementary use that's proposed and the building, that's a combination of something, and that we have to look at the whole thing in it as a whole.
He may need the building for his farm operation outside of the supplemental use. So if he's going to dedicate, say he dedicates 3/4 of that building, I'm throwing out numbers.
Yeah,
To the building might already be there, but it would be identified as the portion of the property that he's using for the supplemental use. At the
I
time he
agree,
would do
but
the
when-
special permit.
I agree, but when it comes to supplemental items, that we have the question about right now, is that now we're bringing a structure in, okay? And how that structure's gonna be used, is gonna be retail sales there? Is it what is going to be there? That all comes into mind when I'm saying to myself, is it a agricultural use? You know, it's a, you know, if we say yes to this, and now they bring the structure in, and we say, no, we can't do the structure, so you can't do this, all right? That's a problem there.
Commissioner Zigmund, though, that's not really part of this. Really, I mean, I think that that's a completely separate discussion about, that's going to have to be dealt with when you actually have that application in front of you to consider, because you don't know, what you're going to receive in terms of support for that. So, I don't, you don't want to prejudge that. I think you've got to deal with what's in front of you.
Okay,
Whether or not you're satisfied that the language is appropriate, and whether you have any particular concerns. It appears again, the first question that Ms. Giusti asked you was the procedural question. I think we only heard one commissioner, the chair, respond to that she believes it should be a special permit, although I think based upon the other comments made, I mean, are the commissioners sitting here, you're all in agreement about the procedural, right? So you all believe it should be a special permit, okay? So now, in terms of the language in the definition, there have been two primary options, most recently discussed, and that is to end the definition in that first on-site appearing in the second section or sentence rather,
It's on the
such that.
screen now, excuse me.
Oh,
We
good.
did bring up the track change on the screen. If you can see that it's closed.
good. Know how to do it.
So I think though
It's up there.
Commissioner Jersey, if you could just take a look. I think actually what you were thinking though was to eliminate that services related sentence as well. Correct? Yeah. So that second sentence as well was
Or
what she was proposing.
modify to be less specific by removing tree cultivation and harvesting. I mean, I'm fine with the alternate language that was suggested also. I just, with all the commas, it seems to me like it would confuse the interpretation or has potential to confuse the interpretation. To me, simpler is better.
Like the including but not limited to.
I mean, including but not limited to, I think really locks us in to, excuse me, sir. It really locks us in with respect to the accepting the firewood sales from off-site as agriculture. I think we have an interpretive issue that moving forward.
Well, I don't disagree with you because the term offsite does appear, and you're saying including, so you are in fact saying that. So I understand the point that you think that there needs to be further discussion about that should you get a special permit that in fact proposes that. Yeah. So again, I think the proposal is to eliminate that second sentence. I know, so that would potentially be struck. And do other folks feel the same way about that? And again, are there any additional exclusions you're thinking at this point?
Not in the definition.
Okay. So then subsection N.
Get the consent. Oh, I'm just going to read it. Uses that are complementary to the principal use of a farm to support the viability of the farm and which operations directly support the primary agricultural use on site. Period. Such use shall
I think on site can come out, just supports the primary agricultural use, period.
Okay. Reviews. Do. There we go. Period. Period. Okay, and then such use shall exclude general contractor operations, construction yards, equipment depots unrelated to agriculture or commercial pesticide operations and or storage. So we added that pesticide
Yep.
section as well. If it is, and just to go back to the previous testimony, previous meeting, pesticides that are needed on a farm are otherwise regulated, so this would be commercial pesticide operation. We had quite the lengthy conversation on that with the applicant with regard to licensing and whatnot, so. Right? And let us, we'll get on you. Here you go. Now we have the provisions, and I think this attorney was going, now we have the special permit criteria that was specific to an agricultural supplemental use.
Sure. I mean, I think, the primary discussion has focused on subsection 3 there, and whether to change that. But I think, we should be looking at, or the commission should be looking at all, starting at the beginning, with vehicles and equipment related to the supplemental use and not ordinarily used for the operation of the farm are adequately screened from adjacent properties to the satisfaction of the commission.
Pretty typical
Mhm.
language you have throughout your regulations with regard to on-site things.
So remember that the concern raised by Commissioner Dorsey with regard to subsection 2 there, the commission may review and limit supplemental use operation, including location on the site, hours of operation, exterior lighting that may be generated by the supplemental use. There was the concern expressed that that might interfere with certain rights related to the right to farm and General Statutes 19A-341.
So in that regard, I believe, and I could be wrong, I often am. But so right to farm is a state law and recognizes agriculture under section 1(1), I believe it is, which defines activities which do not include harvesting of wood off-site. And so now our interpretation is saying that off-site harvested wood is part of an agricultural operation. So,
Well, you've gotten rid of that language in the beginning, though.
no, but
You've taken it out.
it's on the record that our zoning enforcement officer has accepted it on this property.
So I have to say, I don't necessarily agree with that. And I was going back to look at, but actually trying to look at the information that I had been provided about what he in fact had signed off on. So there's an assumption being made about that.
Okay.
That I don't think we have the materials in the record that
Okay,
necessarily reflect that.
that's helpful.
And I am somewhat concerned about, he is not present. So we're assigning to him a belief that I don't necessarily know that in fact he actually made that finding. So I do have some concern about that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, and
not having, again, everything in front of me, it's hard for me to.
my point with that little conversation though was that the state rules may differ from what our practice may be. So the sentence in the proposed text amendment, because it refers to the supplemental use specifically, I am okay with. I kind of wasn't catching that part. I just was thinking.
Yeah,
about
at the end, it says specifically,
activities.
by the supplemental use, yeah. So not the agricultural, the primary agricultural. Yeah, I was going to point that out to you. And just offer the opinion that I think that that probably will address your concern, right? But certainly somebody can raise the issue when they come before the
Yes.
commission on the special permit and say, hey, look, you're infringing upon my right to farm here, with what you're trying to restrict me to.
So if we
And-
have conflict between the town's idea of agriculture and the state's definition of agriculture, where does that leave us? Because we can be more restrictive, right? We can't be less restrictive.
You can be more restrictive. But, because it depends,
My concern is that there's
not
potential conflict.
having a specific factual scenario, it's hard for me to.
State. Or agriculture be included on in this. regulation.
next, Attorney Levi.
What's the regs from the state? Would that be included in this regulation? Because then the definition is the same as the state. And our won't have that conflict. Sorry.
Attorney Levi.
Can I just comment on that?
Okay.
That goes back, the regulations have an existing definition for agriculture or a scope of what is included in agriculture. That's what's in regular print in the definitions, and I'm not sure that changing the definition of agriculture is part of this application. This application deals with agriculture as accessory uses or agricultural supplemental uses. Modified it too. So I think that's the definition that's at hand at this point. Again, we gave you the overview of the agricultural regs. We didn't give you the entire regulation. You have that in zoning books, but gave you each of those sections.
Okay.
Can I just
Go right ahead.
I'm sorry, Attorney Levy, but preempt you on this so that maybe I can just hopefully put that question to rest that you're going to talk about. So on the certificate of zoning compliance, they did describe because I think they're concerned with the ability of Mr. Moran to sell the firewood. He did say in his description that was signed off on, expansion of the existing tree farm, sale of all material currently sold on site, including firewood, mulch, topsoil, and Christmas tree, and construction of a building greenhouse to run the farm. Please see attached letter and concept plan. So they were discussing firewood specific to this site was signed off, not firewood in general. It may, that's scope, and as Attorney Bola mentioned, we'd have to do more digging in to what the historical interpretations have been and whether they were made other places or not, or whether that was even included in interpretation. I think we'd look at the approval of that other site that you talked about, because I think they came in for an approval for that building. They came before you as well, if it's where I'm imagining it is. And so we look at it specifically, but this specific certificate of zoning compliance does reference the materials currently sold on the site, and that being one of them.
I'd just like to point out one thing, okay? Right or wrong, okay, a lot of these activities are taking place on different properties in the town of Berlin, okay? and nobody is complaining about it. It's going on. It hasn't been brought to the attention of zoning enforcement officers or the planning and zoning with regard to any of these activities that have taken place. So they don't seem to be a problem in the community. If they were a problem and people were complaining about it, then town officials would know about it. And this has been going on for a long time. So to a certain degree, I'm only pointing out that this is really not a problem. It's not creating a problem in the community that the community is upset with and they don't want it to happen, they don't want it to continue because it's going on. Nobody's complaining about it. And it's, whether it's right or wrong, I'm not talking about
Yes.
with regard to the zoning. I'm talking about to the actual use that's taking place. It's not a nuisance. People aren't complaining about it. People are doing it. And the community is thriving and surviving.
Okay, thank you. Well, commission, well, we're in public hearing, so is there anyone who wants to talk about this? Oh, no, nobody wants to talk about this. Anyone online who wants to talk about this or comment? Okay, no, hearing none. Commission. We've got a,
I'm sorry. And something else, I don't know if you want to just whip through the other items, but that was two, right?
Right, that was 2.
As far as one, you said no brainer on the vehicles and equipment, I think, is kind of what I gathered.
Yeah,
The
I think 2 is okay because it references supplemental,
mhm,
That was where,
and we got sidetracked.
Yeah.
so then you go back, let's skip over 3 for the second. No commercial vehicles or equipment dedicated to the supplemental use are regularly parked or stored in the front yard.
Mhm.
That just seems to be a typical zoning regulation that we,
well, you want to be mindful of the neighbors.
yep. And as far as the side yards and stuff, that'll be something that you'd review during the special permit, but of course, farm equipment has a lot of latitude there and no signage or advertising, which I don't think is something that is surprising.
Yeah.
I think it was even discussed at the last meeting. So then you go back to that 1 acre or 25%. As a staff person, I would say, I would ask if you find that problematic. Otherwise, it's as proposed.
I think that,
So if there's a quick solution, if you find it problematic, or rather if there's a solution and you find it problematic, I think of course that should be embraced. However, if it's not problematic, it was what the applicant suggested as from what they heard at the.
so I think that we can, we should leave it the way it is. When the time comes that we do the greater review, if need be, that can be reconsidered.
So leave it at 1 acre or 25%? Yeah,
Whichever is less.
yeah, whichever is less.
Making sure that gets said in the,
Yes, okay, I'm sorry.
in case we get a
Um,
transcript or something.
Yes.
So with those edits, I'm not certain that we need other discussion. And I would make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay,
Then public comment with regard to.
Sorry, I should be on the microphone.
okay,
I think just ask one more time. I don't see anybody online, but
yeah. Okay, is there anyone here, either in person or online, that wishes to address the commission regarding this application? Or are there any questions, either for or against, in support of or against? Hearing none.
I'll make
Okay.
a motion to close the public hearing.
All right, motion to close the public hearing by Ms. Jorsey. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Miller. And further discussion? Then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? So moved. Okay. Oh, all right. No, thank you for your time and your patience. And everybody else's time and patience. We should be thanking you. Okay, I thought I was gonna roll right through this meeting. Oh. Oh.
I looked it up for you. It's a
No,
little
I know.
low.
I really told myself.
It's a little low.
Oh, at the end, you might want to take up.
Okay, and now we have our secretary back, Brian Rogan. Oh, that's right. We have to,
I'll leave it up to the judgment of the commission.
Like it or not.
we already voted you in, but Mr. Zigmont said you need to accept it. Okay, all righty. Thank you. And Andrew passed on it. All right, up next is and welcome, modification to the special permit with site plan amendment application of HRP Hospitalities LLC for a Phase 5 hotel construction and use at 404 Berlin Turnpike, MBL 10-2-83-13C, property of the BT 2008 LLC in the BTD zone. Okay. Hi, how are you?
Hey, good evening.
Good evening. How
Oh.
you doing?
I'm doing well. I told my husband, I said, there's just a quick text amendment ahead of us. Let me.
You told him
Yeah,
to,
no, that's
you
okay.
told him to fetch dinner, right? Okay, good.
So for
I'm
the
glad.
record, my name's Megan Hope. I'm an attorney with Alter Pearson and Hope in Glastonbury. I'm representing the applicant HRP Hospitality LLC. Also here with us tonight is Peter Diadio of BT 2008 LLC, representing the owner. We've submitted applications to modify the existing special permanent site plan that the commission approved back in 2021 when they originally approved the mixed use development at 404 Berlin Turnpike. Was a large 35-acre site. We had all those hearings, virtual hearings during COVID. Currently is under construction, and we're here tonight for phase 4 of that project. With me tonight, we have Scott Hesketh, who's our professional engineer, professional traffic engineer, Osmani Villafana, who's our architect. So we will be able to answer any questions that the commission has. I did prepare a PowerPoint that we can go through. It's basically pulled items from the previous approval just to provide some context because it's been some time. And then also, obviously, the new materials that we submitted with the application. If you go to the next slide, please, Alexa. So this, just to give everyone an overview of the site, it's a 35-acre site approved in 2021. The area of development is located in that top right corner, close to the Berlin Turnpike. Everything that doesn't have development on was put in conservation or recreation easements and was donated. So all that development is located in that front of the property. The site consisted of 4 phases. The convenience store, which is located towards the bottom of the screen, apartments, which is located to the west right there, in those 5 buildings, together with the clubhouse. We also had a retail / bank building right there, phase 3, and then phase 4 was the hotel in that northeast corner of the site. Go to the next slide, please, Alexa. This was the phasing plan that we showed back in 2021, just has each area that I just went over highlighted. The convenience store, phase 1 has been completed. Phase 2 is under construction, and we do have COs on some of the buildings. We're moving now with phase 4. That was originally approved as a 100 room hotel. And we're proposing a little bit less with 90 tonight, but overall very consistent with what was previously approved. If the commission remembers, one of the conditions in the approval that you placed on in 2021 was that the applicant was to return to the commission for final approval of the 4th hotel phase construction and related site improvements or any modifications there too. We had some general sense of the footprint, how the parking would lay out, sort of the massing, but we didn't have any of those details, but we do have those tonight. So that's really the purpose of the application tonight. One other item I wanted to touch on, if you recall, as part of this application, we had a extensive discussion about parking and the shared parking study that was provided to the commission at that time. You did make a finding in your approval that said that the commission considered reports and testimony of the third-party consultants and finds that the shared parking provided meets or exceeds that required for the proposed size and mix of uses proposed on the Unified Development Plan, and that each use has reasonable access to the shared parking. So what I did want to point out is with this new proposal, we've actually been able to increase parking, and I'll show you in a minute, but it really had to do with the way the footprint of the hotel we're proposing now, we're able to basically put in another row of parking. So you were comfortable back in 2021 that we had enough parking with the 100-room hotel. And now we've increased parking by about 20 spaces. So just wanted to provide a little context because I know we spent a lot of time back in 2021 talking about that. Next slide, please. So these were just two renderings that I have the next two slides from 2021 that we showed during the public hearing. That sort of blank white block there was the hotel. And that's why you placed that condition to come back with once we had those final details. It is 4 stories, which really matches what's happening in the back with the apartments. But just wanted to remember, this is really all we had showed at that public hearing as far as what the building would look like. All right, so this was a previously approved hotel layout. Again, it was 100 rooms. The footprint was about a little over 15,000 square feet. If you look towards the front of the hotel, we had a drop-off loop, and then we sort of had a one-way circulation pattern going clockwise around the hotel. So if you look on that north side of the hotel, the top of the page there, you're seeing really just parking along the north side. And when we flip to the next slide, you're going to see that we've actually added two rows of parking here. So we go to the next slide, Alexa. Thank you. So a little bit of a footprint change. It's only about 2,400 square feet difference in shape. But with that change on the north side of the hotel, we were able to add additional parking there to the site. And just to orient you, Berlin Turnpike's obviously over to the right side of the screen. You'd come in off of that main curb cut. Directly to the right would be the main entrance to the hotel. There's a canopy there, which you drive through, and then we have parking really on all sides of the hotel. On that front side, you can circle around the side to the back, and then circle back around towards Berlin Turnpike, and we've got parking on all sides. There is a small patio. That's a sort of darker area to the north side of the building. That's proposed as one of the amenities to the hotel building. You go to the next slide, please. All right. Scott Hesketh did provide some additional information on parking and trip generation. Obviously, with the decrease in total number of rooms, the trip generation decreased, and also the parking requirements decreased as well, while we've also increased the parking spaces. So we did submit that for the record, but we feel confident that because the commission felt comfortable before enough, and now we've decreased rooms, increased parking, that the parking still makes sense as previously approved. Next slide, please. Again, Mr. Hesketh's firm did do an analysis of the drainage. Most of the drainage infrastructure for the whole mixed-use development is in. So while this area where the hotel is currently is dirt today, underground we have all that. Most of that stormwater infrastructure, it's all in there. We did do an analysis. We have a 1.2% increase in impervious. But when we run out all the numbers, what we're finding is that all those drainage calculations still work, and there's no negative impact to that very small increase considering the size of all the phases of development. If you go to the next slide, please. We do have a proposed landscaping plan, consists of a lot of foundation plantings around the building, trees, located next to the drive aisles and along the turnpike as well. So this is obviously more fully developed since last time we were here because we have this final footprint for the hotel. Next slide, please. This is our proposed grading plan. It's obviously consistent with what was previously shown because we have that stormwater infrastructure in the site, but we do have our stormwater going to various stormwater chambers, all in accordance with the previously approved plans. The next slide, please. This is just a utility plan. Obviously, we'll have full utilities to the site with sewer, water, electricity as well, and that's all showed on this plan. We did get a comment from the fire marshal about the fire truck, and he provided us with a template. So we were able to put the template on and run it through and around the hotel as he asked. So I did just put that in here because we had the comment. All right, I think now I'm going to pass it off to Osmani so we can go through. We have the next couple of slides are the elevations, and then we have a couple 3D renderings, and we do have also the material board here as well. So if you want to get a sense of what the materials look like. we have those. All right, I'll pass it off.
Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I'm Osmani Villafana. I'm with Rosalind Dawson, the architectural firm in charge of doing this building. I just want to go quickly the design. This is a 4-story building, wood construction, composed of 90 rooms under the franchise choice, country and suite. The building, the exterior design is composed mostly for EFES system with 2 main colors, light and a darker color, following the franchise guideline. And we also have fiber cement panels, make some accents. You can see under the windows and on the canopy area on the front. We also have a band on the bottom portion with some stone sculpture to make some accent, also in compliance with the franchise standards. The hotel present along with the rooms.
Excuse me 1 second, why don't we move the display so that you can point to the.
Maureen? Okay. I'm trying to find my Comfort Inns, Choice Hotels.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's what I think we want. We want something like this and not like that.
Comfort Inn, is it? They say choice.
Choice Hotels is Comfort Inns. But
Oh,
they,
I wonder what brand it is, but they probably own multiple brands.
well, this is Choice Hotels.
Oh. Oh, sorry. So as I was saying, here's some finish how the building is gonna look like. This is the very common EFES finish that we can see in most of the towns, most of the buildings in the United States and in Connecticut. This will be composing most of the area. We have these fiber cement panels will be part of the accent under the windows to make like an elegant view. And we have this cultural stone on the bottom part to create also an accent and a nice view on the front of the building. Along with the rooms, we got an indoor pool for the guests. We got fitness area, and we got the small conference rooms to serve also possible meetings that other people can have on the hotel. Other than that, we have the approval from the franchise. The plans are ready to go for permit once the Planning and Zoning Commission approve the site plan and the elevations. We are good to go.
Okay. Tim, did you have a question?
That stone on the bottom, it doesn't go to the last, the last section of the building towards the highway. And,
You're talking about this part?
Yep.
yeah, that stone all the way across the bottom, but all the way to the right, the last structure there. Yeah, there's no stone on that building there, which, you think it would be, towards the turnpike would have to be matching to the rest of the building.
Yeah, maybe, I think
Yep.
Alexa has, are you concerned with, sorry.
Yeah,
Concerned with the view from the Berlin Turnpike?
Yes, that section is towards the Berlin Turnpike. So that section there is without the stone on it. I'm wondering why that doesn't have it.
it could be something to consider. This is based on the franchise, which they focus mainly on this, on the front, not taking all the area of the building, but that's something we can consider with the franchise and
It
the owner.
just doesn't match the rest of the building, you know, and
And Alexa, I think, can you flip to the flat elevations on the screen? Want to look at the side, yeah, or go back to the one side facing the Berlin Turnpike, this one.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, but the front, that's the front of the building right here.
Right.
Right, so if you're coming northbound on the turnpike, you could be looking at that front. So that's,
No, not the rendering, the flat elevation. I think the grade is getting lost.
No.
Yeah, this one. Oh, go back one, please.
Yep.
Thank you.
right there, so that darker piece all the way is not all the way down the building. Yep,
Yep.
yep, it's not all the way down the building.
End of the building closest to the Berlin Turnpike, both the south elevation, that is what they consider the front of the building, and the easterly elevation that
Right,
what
correct,
faces the turnpike,
correct.
are the areas of
name-
concern right now.
Is this not on? You can hear me.
Yep,
Okay, my name's Peter Diadio, and just as a comment, that portion of the building, it's difficult to see, is recessed. Right, so at the front gate, the front door where you pull in and park, that's the part where you have your stone facade. Then that portion of the building is recessed back. And so that's why it's the break in the textures there. And of course, if you walk around that part of the building, then the lot drops off. And so there's a change in grade once you're in the front of the Berlin Turnpike. So of course, it's subject to the architect's design, but that's most likely the reason for that cutoff, because then to return and go around, it doesn't match the facade and match the elevation where the customer comes into the building.
so that facade where the door entrance is a different to the back, to that portion of the building to the left.
Exactly.
And it's the same to the right, but it doesn't have that stone going across. It's the same distance. That facade, the door entrance sticks out.
Asmani, could you put your finger on where that stone actually goes? I don't think it returns all the way either. You see, it's just those small spots.
Right, and the rest of the
Yeah.
building's not
I
that.
I think also one other thing is, it's not only when the customer pulls in, but it's the view from the turnpike that
Right.
we're also considering. Because I will give you credit, you've done a very nice job with your project. It's appealing.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
So we just don't want this hotel,
because it's in the forefront.
yeah.
We want it to be inviting, like people want to stay there. But we also want to make sure that they know it's separate from the apartments. In other words, we want it to stand out a little bit more and showcase. And, I look at this and I understand it's 4-story building and you have to think about, the footprint of the building and how it all fits in. I'm just trying to figure out a way to warm it up and to make it more inviting and not so, I don't want to use the wrong words, but I'm just going to say it, not so cold or sterile looking. I want it to be, it's a country inn and suites.
I read it.
So thinking about that name, I want it to have sort of that feel, a welcoming feel that's a great place to take your family to, because you gotta visit with Aunt May, and it's better we have our own place. And I think you understand what I'm saying. And I don't know if the pillars have to be maybe a different, I don't know, or maybe it's too dark. Maybe the colors have to be reversed, I don't know.
I'm just thinking, I know that it's a franchise, so you have guidelines within the franchise that you have to stick to. But an example that we give you right across the street, we have a McDonald's going in. And they had their franchise guidelines, but they also had a number of other McDonald's all around the country. And they were able to find one that they did that was actually one of the nicest, probably McDonald's in all of the United States. And they matched that to the Berlin Turnpike. So I don't know if there's other options that they have within the franchise guidelines where they can,
So let me just ask a question so that our architect can get a good sense of what really the question is. Where would you like to see the stone on that building?
Yes.
Where?
Where?
And where?
Yes.
I want it continued to that last building there,
You're wanting
that
basically a straight
recessed
walk
corner.
table.
right across. And now that I looked at the building again on the other side, then across the Berlin Turnpike too. It should wrap around all the way around that building, because that square is just a light colored square on the building.
Can we
It
turn to
doesn't
the-
have the flavor of the rest of the building.
Elevation Again?
Facing the turnpike.
Yeah. That one right.
That's what that one there, right there. There's no
So that's a
no
light,
break up to that building either.
that's a light color, and you would like to see the brown on the bottom?
Not the brown, no, the dark, the stone right there, the stonework right there,
Can you see this? You can't really.
I guess I can't see
the
it.
stonework right there.
So.
I don't think we're asked, like, we don't expect people to drive down the Berlin Turnpike and go, wow, that looks amazing. But we kind of want the thing to go, huh, that looks
Wait,
nice.
Like, hey,
No?
when did they
mean,
come in?
The
It
whole
looks like
building could,
it's nice.
should look similar around the building, that's all.
It's here and here now, and you
Right.
want it to be placed.
Maybe.
Here, there, and
they
around the
switched
Berlin
colors, so
Turnpike.
the dark is actually
Right
the
there.
light
That's-
and the
The
light is the dark.
Window, I guess.
Yeah, well, to that door, whatever.
No?
The door, right?
Oh, that's beautiful.
It just helps it look
Is that a
less
country?
industrial.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, will it make it look too blocky, especially on the side like that? No, it is, but I'm trying to.
Colors kind of do match the rest of his project.
Yeah, we do. I'm just trying to figure out some way to warm it up.
I'm sure once you put some landscaping in there.
Yeah, we do have, there's a lot of landscaping around which we don't have any of the landscaping rendered in the elevations.
And
Yeah.
that,
Diane?
I'm sorry,
Not
I think
just-
according to
Yes.
architect, that he likely can add that stone subject to the franchise approval. We just have to go back.
Oh, I'm sure you can twist their arm. Yeah, because I think they want the hotel. Diane, did you have questions?
Just a couple of questions. Looking at the eastern elevation of the building, is there going to be any signage, or is there a plan for signage on that end to call attention to it from the turnpike, or how is the signage going to be working there?
Talking about a pylon sign?
I'm just wondering if there's going to be a sign on the wall. The wall, the
On this
Yeah.
view.
depiction, it just looks like it's a very big blank space.
We have the main signage of the building on the front facade, like the branch signage, the country. Other than that, we got the monument sign. When you come into from the Bellington Park.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, there's one that's hard to see.
And then the other questions or question on the back, okay.
Okay.
It's a little hard to see. It's on the dark color.
Oh.
It's here. There's one on the front and the peak. And then one on the rear, which I think you could see coming down the turnpike the other way probably.
If,
Probably.
may for the record,
Sure.
I'm not sure that the signage as proposed was evaluated for the zoning against the zoning regulations.
Okay.
So I think discussing the signage in general at this point is, typical of what you would do. Typically, and I'm
To be determined.
up the regs, but typically it would be one wall sign allowed for the building and one pylon sign for the property. So, which it would be a separate property from the other phases. But I think the design of the signage is something that is for the commission to review at this point. The actual square footage and placement, we're gonna have to,
Mhm.
for the size of the placement,
Okay.
not they can choose where they want it, but will be subject to zoning review during their permitting process.
Mhm.
Well, so I'm asking the question not so much from a signage perspective, but more from a perspective of breaking that big wall up. And so maybe faux windows can be put in,
Oh, that's
I,
interesting.
You're talking about on this.
Is that where the
Yes, it
elevator
just
is?
Looks like a kind of a blank slate is facing the turnpike.
No, that's where the one of the stairs go in each end of the building.
There's,
Oh, so there's, is this exit stairwell, like an emergency stairwell? Okay.
so what's the windows in between the black and the light color?
That's the windows are the end of the corridor. So we have those windows so we can bring a natural light to the corridor.
See what
It's not a staircase, okay.
If we can show the floor plans.
A lot of wall facing the Berlin Turnpike, so that could.
Well,
be-
maybe she's gonna have a lot of landscape facing the Berlin Turnpike.
The other question that I had was whether or not there would be a restaurant or lounge or a
Did you get
like a reception area for maybe a wedding or anything like that.
I have the floor plans this way.
Sorry, I didn't realize that.
Good.
No.
Along the highway.
All right.
I know where mine are.
There's AX
Scan over
one.
there.
Yes, counselors.
Yeah, she has
Rel-
only-
Relative to additional amenities, this is working. Additional amenities as far as restaurants go. We do have a restaurant in the main lobby, right? It
Yeah, I
it
know.
feeds the guests, and also there's a patio
Yeah,
back
everyone's gonna be.
of the building where they can enjoy the eats outside as well during the right season. There's also, I think, 3 separate conference rooms, including the pool area, that will be available for parties. And I don't believe it depends on the size of the wedding. You know, if you have a big wedding, it probably doesn't accommodate, but definitely for a small one, or birthday parties or brownie trips or those kinds of things. So we accommodated, I think you'll find on the floor plan, there's only a few rooms. Most of the first floor plan is amenity. The pool, I think there's 2 or 3 small conference rooms, two conference rooms, as well as an eating space, a front desk, and then the back patio. So
That's first floor.
And we have the floor plans on the screen, but you come in the front door here and you have reception, lobby area, moving through here, you have the breakfast area and where you can eat. There's meeting rooms here and here. We have fitness here. The pool is here as well. And if you can go right through here to that outdoor patio. So it's a nice view coming in. You can see straight through the building. And then we have some other rooms over here as well. And then all the other floors have the central corridor like this with the windows at the end, and then rooms obviously on either side. But you can see the stairs here and here at the ends. So over here,
The kitchen area.
it's
Yeah, it's just the typical serving area that we see in hotels. Yeah, correct. It's not like a proper kitchen.
Do the walls in the conference rooms fold so that the room can be bigger?
We have 2 conference rooms, one smaller and another a little bit bigger, which is 2 bays of the rooms. Yeah, that's the small one, and that's the big one, which is 2 bays.
Right.
And you can add portable
I thought I
partitions.
understood those. There were multiple, I thought I understood there were multiple rooms there.
2.
But together.
Oh.
I didn't understand they were separate.
All right.
I did just double check the regulations. It appears with quick look that they can have 1 pylon sign or freestanding sign and 1 wall sign. Is what's allowed by regulation. So sounds to me like that'll be on what they consider the front facade where the entrance is, which is the south side of the building.
Okay. The east side of the building in the drawing, in the picture, it's flat all the way across. This got an indentation in the front, which breaks it up a little bit. Okay, I see the saddle. I see the saddle down. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, the concern basically is breaking up that big wall. You know, the big black wall and the big light wall, breaking up those walls somehow. Because, coming up Turnpike, you don't have anything that attracts it to that building,
Yeah.
you know? And our concern is architecture is very important to us now because of the attractions thing. We had a gorgeous project being built next door now, which I totally praise. I guess the last two buildings are being built now. And I drove in there and I'm very happy with that project. Uh, and I want to make sure that, I guess it's phase 3 on the map you showed. There's another little restaurant built, retail, whatever it is. That's going to be complemented to this whole layout.
There's 3 trees on this side. Oh yeah, sorry. There's 3 trees on the Berlin Turnpike side as well. That's in the landscape plan. That's basically between the just right inside our property line in front of the parking spaces. We do have 3 trees as well, and then a bunch of shrubs and other foundation plantings as well. But I think that'll soften the view for sure.
Okay. We are in the public hearing, so is there anyone online who wishes to has some comments or questions? Scott Hamill, did you have any comments or questions at this time?
Oh, I just concur with what Commissioner Zigmund said. I'd like to see that continue if possible.
Okay,
But then again, things will change once the plannings are in, so.
yeah. Okay, thank you. All right. Anyone else who wants to address the commission?
I have
Maureen,
a letter from the town manager to be.
okay. Yep. Why don't you give, yeah.
It was the secretary read it.
It's the town manager. He won't use big words. Andrew didn't want to read it.
I'm sorry, I meant from the
No.
town manager.
That's okay.
All right. Dear Chairman Veely and Commission members, I am writing to you in support of the modification to the hotel approval for 404 Berlin Turnpike and the Riverview project. I believe that the proposed changes will make this a better project for the town of Berlin as there will be additional space for events as well as an indoor pool. I've been working closely with Peter Diadio through this project and believe this is a great addition to the 80 or so apartments completed and the 120 apartments that are planned. This multi-phase development has begun to change the look of the turnpike, and a hotel will enhance the area even more. Having a national brand in Berlin for hotel is a great way to continue to show the state of Connecticut that we are not just making progress, but leading the way and being not just creative, but forward-thinking from our Planning and Zoning Commission. The choice this evening is yours, but I am in support of these changes as they will bring positive effects to the town of Berlin. This is a great project that you overwhelmingly approved previously, which I hope you will again support with these small changes. Sincerely, Town Manager, Mr. Curley.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments or questions from the commission at this point? No. Is that it for, yes. Oh, Maureen?
Health Department, Water Control, Fire Marshal have comments here. I just want to make sure that, and engineering, that all their concerns have been addressed.
I can speak to that.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. So we are in receipt of all the memos. We acknowledge the health department that will need to get food service reviewed by the health department. And also the pool is permitted through the state. So that's pretty standard. We'll obviously comply with that. We understand what the water and sewer fees are going to be, and that we need to get permits, obviously, for connection and assessment. Regarding the fire marshal, item number 2 was about the radius for the ladder, which we already went over and showed that complies. He did ask us to relocate the crosswalk And that's on the retail side. So there's a crosswalk that goes from the hotel, crosses across the drive aisle to that future retail building. And what he wants us to do is line that up with where the fire hydrant's going to be next to that retail building, which we can do, and it wouldn't result in a loss of parking. We basically would swap the crosswalk with where a parking space is right now. So that's not an issue. We can comply with that. Going to the engineering comments, yes, retaining walls over 4 feet do go through a specific process with the building department when they're permitted. So we obviously will comply with that process and file the necessary certified plans that are required for that. We did show the piping for stormwater and the under drain system, but again, that can be reviewed by the building department. Portions of the retaining wall on the west side of the building are more than 4 feet high, and they will have a fence on top of those, a safety rail. I did show that in the plan tonight. It's kind of hard to see, but that's not an issue. That can be a condition of approval. Regarding the DOT, no changes are needed with our currently approved OSTA DOT permits for this proposal. So we won't need to make any changes to that. That's already in effect valid, and there'd be no changes needed for this proposal. And regarding the detail sheets for light and heavy duty pavement details, we can absolutely include that on the plans. Just to refresh everybody's recollection, if you recall, when you come in that northerly site entrance, and if you came in straight, sort of drove around the retail building, went to the south down to the convenience store, that loop, it's sort of a C shape, that has the heavy duty pavement. So part of that, which will be right in front of the hotel and then scoop down to the south, that'll be the heavy duty pavement. The rest of everything around the hotel would be the light duty. But that's consistent with what we had previously shown. So we'll put those details on the plan. And I think I had put them in, what'd you say? Oh, Scott.
One clarification.
Okay.
For the record, Scott has one clarification on the DOT OSTA. We're not doing any work within the DOT right away in order to construct the hotel. So we don't believe we need any DOT permits, encroachment permits for that work. However, if there's some grading that needs to be done, we'll get such a permit if need be. We do have to go back to the Office of the State Traffic Administration for amended partial opening. Right now, we're approved for all the buildings except for the retail building. We're going to ask the DOT to swap out the retail building for the hotel building because in our overall approval, we're prohibited from doing the median break and the traffic signal until we pull a building permit for the last building. Because we need a certain volume of traffic in order to justify the traffic signal. And they don't want a signal being constructed and flashing for 5 years because we don't build the last building. So when we pull a building permit for the last building, they'll give us permission to do the rest of the work if we decide to go in that fashion. So we're just going to ask them to swap out the retail for the hotel building so we can do the hotel building first and do the retail building at a later date. So we are going back. It was just misspoke, but no permits needed for the construction, but we do need their permission to swap the two buildings and go forward.
So we haven't lost the traffic light yet.
You haven't lost it yet.
Okay.
The people on Turnpike are gonna love you. Yes,
So related to that, can I ask a question?
yes,
So
please.
Are you likely, or are you planning to ask OSTA to allow the traffic signal because the hotel is going in first? Because I think, and again, this is recalling 2021, which is blurry, was the fact that the 100 room hotel would be of the size and scale that might tip OSTA to have that signal. And I think the commission was anticipating that signal coming, at least with the residential units and the hotel. And so
All the numbers we run
that's a
and
concern.
all the numbers we run and provided to the DOT so far indicate that we don't have enough driveway volume to warrant the signal until the last building is in operation, regardless of which building it is. So in our current OSTA approval, we are prohibited from doing the work until we pull the permit for the last building. And we're just asking them to let us do the hotel as opposed to the retail building first. Right now, if you read the approval, it says, when you pull the building permit for the hotel, you do this. We're just asking them to switch that language from hotel to the retail building. So
That is in the hostess hands, not,
Yeah.
I mean, not in the commissions, but it's on the record now.
Okay, terrific.
I do
Um,
have a number of comments. And
Oh, you still have it, yeah. Okay, I'm just finishing up with the public. Okay, one last for the public.
Chris Edge, 240 Kennington Road. This will be quick. Running in support of the hotel being proposed at 404 Berlin Turnpike as part of the Riverview Mixed Use Project with the shrinking of the hospitality industry in Connecticut during COVID, specifically within a 30-minute drive of Berlin. A new branded hotel will be a great fit for our town. In addition, it'll be the third phase of 4. This amazing project was hoping to change the face of the Berlin Turnpike. To many corporations from Eversource, Comcast, Tom's, Avna, and many others, a hotel can serve as a location for guests and customers to stay, as well as provide a location for small meetings. The lesser amount of rooms, having a few small meeting rooms as well as indoor pool, makes sense for the community, as well as does support the mission of Country Inn and Suites, which is a Choice and Radisson brand. At the November 2025 Economic Development Commission meeting, the commission voted unanimously to support the new concept and the changes proposed this evening. Thank you very much.
And one last go round, because we're in public hearing. Is there anyone from the public online or in person who wishes to address the commission regarding this application? Now would be the time to do so. Okay, hearing none. Commissioners, any last questions?
I just got a question for a planner. The posting, and I think in the paper, at least on the paperwork I got here, it says section number 5, and this is section number 4. So I just wondering if it,
I don't think that's critical.
okay, I just want to make sure,
And
no, I just want to make sure it's not a problem, that's all.
so
Thank you.
So the address, the use.
I was going to clarify the
Yeah,
address.
the address, right?
The application came through initially. It was vacant property. A general address of 404, I believe, was used. It is a separate lot now, but it was also, this pad for the hotel is also now been assigned 414. This is 404. Oh, the residential units are 414. Got them mixed up. See, you're doing it every day. So this one's 404. The residential is 414. You've seen 414. And that's because during the application to the time it's come here, we've gotten assignments for those. And that's why I always try to put map, block, and lot in wherever I can, because the lot number rarely changes.
I'm just, it's a great project and I want to make sure no little thing screws it up at all.
It's affected because it is an overall site plan for the entire thing.
Okay.
Chairman, most of my comments some of them they already addressed. Their housekeeping, some of them are housekeeping things that I'd like included if you have an approval coming for them. Again, for the record, we always put anything in the state right of way, DOT approval, et cetera. Site improvements being installed before occupancy or appropriately bonded as allowed. The commission should, in my opinion, confirm that the proposed parking is adequate for the use, and as Attorney Hope said,
yep.
yeah, I'm like Hope, Megan, wait,
Stanley.
which one's
Yeah.
the first name?
Megan.
I'm like, I'm sorry for that. They did add that row of parking immediately adjacent to the building in the rear, and the parking numbers all still fall within what the overall site plans recommendations were, actually exceed that number, as analyzed by the planning consultant that you hired at the time of the initial review. But that being said, a condition be that the applicant incorporate the updated parking chart for the 4 phases of development into the site plan set. And then the site plan as modified with this for phase 4 be reviewed by staff and then recorded on the land records to supersede the plan, this phase that was previously put on the land record. The commission opine on the landscape and screening plan. I think commission would generally want to know what the safety railing, the material of the safety railing or the retaining wall might be. That's a question you typically answer. It might be on the detail sheets. I'm not sure. I didn't go through all the detail sheets. Do we know what that is?
It's shown, it's all the decorative rail, but it'll be depicted, selected.
Peter, by rail, do you mean a fence, a decorative fence? Yeah, decorative fence. Yeah.
Probably similar to the one that you're seeing going up in the building, but that's not exactly because it needs to be, selected by the vet.
Yeah.
We'll give up an option and what's the building department if we do for approval.
Does that fence at the 8-foot section, and then that fence that drops down to like 4-foot section, okay? That fence go be running the whole length?
Yeah, any place above
4-foot section will not have a fence.
I think
Okay,
I think 4 feet.
Yeah.
4 feet even?
Is
Okay.
the number.
Okay, because I think it should continue the whole wall, that's why. Yeah, pretty much. You're a builder, pretty much.
And I confirming, as Attorney Hope said, the fire marshals, health district, water control engineering, they all updated their comments and those can all, everything else can be handled during permitting. To clarify the crosswalk detail, what will end up happening with the relocation of the crosswalk is the hatching where nobody can park will line up with the existing fire hydrant. And therefore, it's a no parking
yes,
space and
2
they
for
never,
1.
and they don't have to worry about that if there is an event. But that's the reasoning behind that modification, is because then it's a hatch mark. Nobody's supposed to be parking there anyway. And again, they did make that change on the plan that at least the fire marshal saw. He was satisfied. I talked to him today about it. I just, for the record, whether I would like the applicant to identify if there are any suite rooms that include kitchen facilities.
No.
Okay, so then we don't have to say for the record that only short-term hotel rooms.
Okay.
Or, I wanted to make sure that, that was there.
Not Pearl Turnpike then.
Any outstanding consultant WMC comments relating to this phase, particularly for stormwater management, be resolved to the satisfaction of the town engineer prior to permitting. I wasn't able to double check with the town engineer, but they also indicated that that was already, the stormwater has already been all resolved to, in compliance with all those comments from the consultant back in 2021. He said about filing with this, with the special, with the updated special permit letter on the land records. All conditions, including reporting as detailed in the May 20th, 21 Planning and Zoning Commission approval, be incorporated and continued with this approval unless specifically superseded. I think I would encourage the commission to make a comment on any architectural modifications. My suggestion is the architectural modifications as discussed, including stone wrapping, be submitted for staff review. Unless you want to see it or something else.
Yeah.
Or any other things about the architecture or materials, and signage is subject to zoning review and separate permitting. I think that is everything. Oh, I did also want to ask for clarity because I think you'd want to get it dealt with all at once if it was possible, rather than the applicant coming back again, but they did come in for solar panels on the residential use. I want to, I'm interested as to whether or not they think they'll be coming in for solar panels, and if they are, if they want that addressed at this point instead of in the future.
I can comment on that.
Yeah. You'll have to use the microphone, I'm sorry.
And they may not.
I'm sorry, I can comment on that. There is currently a proposed request for proposal to produce solar panels. We won't be able to be in that tranche. We just won't be ready for it. But the same people that are building the solar panels have approached me, but I need to approach Shavim. He's discussed it lightly, but there's more work to be done. So we won't make it on this round, but there'll be another round. So the answer is maybe,
Yeah,
but
all right,
I'm just not sure.
Address it.
exactly.
Tried, Peter.
Oh. Okay,
Can
yeah, go ahead, Tim.
one thing is, I'm looking at the travel pattern of the two-way around the building. And the travel pattern going south on the east side of the building. Basically, the map don't show it going anywhere besides the east side of the building. I just want to make sure that's wide enough there. We had that concern of this truck 3 that I know the width very much. I driven that many times. And in the rear of the building or apartments, you have the truck coming into a 12-foot area. If that northern curb could move a little bit to open that to like maybe 14-foot area instead of 12-foot area, coming across there, or the center island moved a little bit, either way, because of that truck.
Yeah,
Can
and
you tell me where you're talking about?
I think I think I see the confusion. Just to clarify, all the drive aisles are two-way, 24 feet wide. Where you're seeing the 12 feet, that's just measuring one of the lanes. So see, there's
Yeah,
another,
that's one lane.
right, the other one is 12.
And the curb right here, it's just that
Is this already built?
a 12-foot run
No,
with that truck. You could, right here.
So that is already built out.
No, there's an island there or a curb there.
Councilman
There's a
Zigmont,
curb on the other side.
may I address your concern? Okay, while Meg's 100% right, it's 24-foot lane all the way around, except where you have the gates. The gates is a gated community in the residential side and not in the hotel, right? So where there's a residential gate, currently we have 2 arms, one on the way in and one on the way out.
Right.
And there is some tightness currently with the island in the center.
Right.
And the reason that it's of concern is that we're not fully paved, and there's more pavement that needs to be put there, and it's a mountable island. In other words, the island is meant to be drove on top of. So we are looking at it. We might shorten it. We might do something, but we do understand it's a little tight there, and especially since that final coat of paving might not be done for a year and a half, simply because we have a lot of buildings still to build.
Oh.
It does make the turn, but it was meant to be a mounted curb. So if your truck is long, the back tire may go over it if you take the turn too early. So we do see it. It's not a part of the hotel, but it is something that we will address as we complete the apartments.
You address one way or the other, it's addressed, that's all.
Like to expound on that because I have had many conversations with the fire marshal
Yeah.
with regard to this. So they did make a modification going into the residential section, because they have deals there already based on being able to get fire apparatus back there. They had to make some modifications during the install, but the alignment of the drives by being able to go around the building will also alleviate the concern. And that was the initial review was back in 2021, was as they went around the back, they would be able to go around the back of the hotel and go in at a more straight angle into the residential fee. And so that has been, I think Mr. Gadio has worked
Because previously it was one way the other way on the old plan. So the trucks couldn't.
Okay.
Drive that.
Well, you know,
Apparatus.
I'm a past fireman thinking of what it can be, and if
Working
it's being addressed, that's no problem.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
with the fire marshal on that specific issue. And I believe that he's completely satisfied with this plan. I talked to him today about it.
Okay, I just have one last comment. The pillars that are supporting the check-in entry, is it possible that the architect could design something to change the profile instead of it just being a tube that's going down? Can we have something a little bit, perhaps coming down, but a wider base that would be open, so you could have plantings cascading, you could change it out for holidays, you could do foliage things there, you could do Christmas decorations. You see what I'm saying? So that, now some of the profiles for those supports, they can actually almost be like a pyramid, they could be straight or they could be like a pyramid, but the base of it actually is a planter. So if you do 2 of those, I mean, I think it'll help you out with guests pulling up to check in, because then you'll have some landscaping there as well.
Yeah, we do, and just, there is an island. It's kind of hard to see. If you go to the site plan, it's easier to see, but there is a small island underneath that front end of the canopy, which I think we could put a planter in, Peter, or plantings. That seems, do you see it there? It's not showing up in the landscape plan because we don't have any plants there now. Go to the next slide, Alexa. Yeah, there's a little oval. It's hard. It's probably easier to see. It looks like it's a 6-foot wide oval. So I think we could put a planter there with some plants.
Is that where the pillars end? The support pillars? Oh, okay.
Pillars land in it.
See, that's right.
Yeah,
It could be in that island. That's
yeah,
right.
all right.
That's where you could put planting. I was worried that you wanted to make the island jet one way or another. I don't have the traffic room, but
Oh, no, I.
side to
so I'm
side,
just looking at this.
side to
just-
side, it's
Yeah.
fine. Sure.
I'm just trying to warm up the front.
Sure. Yeah. And here, she's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
No, Mayor, you are right. We have an island there, and actually, it's depicted on the architectural drawings. We got also an area there with some pavers, along with the planting,
Okay,
make that entry like
Yeah.
nicer or welcome.
okay, thank you.
Welcome.
That would be it for me. Anyone else? Nope, okay. So,
I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
okay, motion to close the public hearing by Ms. Dorsey. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rogan. Further discussion, all those in favor? Aye, those opposed, so moved. The last item actually asked to be postponed, and that was for a re-subdivision application by Paul Pryor Jr., which we are going to postpone. And I guess they'll let us know when they're ready, right?
I think he'll be back.
Well, is he coming back on the 19th?
Well, why don't you reschedule it for the 19th? We'll just push it that one meeting and then if he's
Okay,
not
well,
back, we'll.
all right. Do I need a motion on
I'll
that?
make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to postpone the re-subdivision application of Paul Pryor to the February 19th meeting.
Okay, that we have a motion by Ms. Dorsey. Do we have a second? Second. Thank you by Ms. Daly. Further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, so moved. All right, deliberations, the text amendment application for Arbor Farms. LLC. All
I'll
right,
make a
and
motion to-
excuse, recusing himself.
sorry.
Oh, okay.
Can we be heard before that? Because that might be a long.
Yeah.
We're going to be fast.
We'll be fast. We'll be quick about this one. I understand your concern. Actually, I did think about that when we were in public hearing, but, all right. So, yeah, because I have my deadline. Text amendment application of Arbor Farms.
So
what do
I'll
we
make
have?
a motion to approve as we revised it,
Okay. Oh,
Red line during the.
as redlined during public hearing, yes.
okay. A motion by Ms. Dorsey, and do we have a second? second by Ms. Millard. Further discussion on that? I just hope we don't get snake bit. We just got to make sure. I mean, I know we have,
So I'm hoping the special permit would.
well, I'm hoping that that special permit overlay was not gonna, we're not gonna regret this. Okay, further discussion on all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? So moved. And did Mr. Hamel vote? I think he did. Scotty?
On that one, because he wasn't.
Oh, no, he was, that's right, okay.
Yeah, I
So
can't vote on
back
that
to-
one.
All right, thank you, thanks for the reminder. Modification for the site plan for the HRP Hospitality LLC, which is you guys here. So this is the Phase 5 hotel construction and commission.
So
have?
I will make a motion to approve, subject to all staff comments, including the recommended amendments and the recording of such for parking, and that the security railing be subject to staff approval, and that the project also include planters that were discussed at the front entrance. And do we need anything
For
to,
lighting,
with
lighting at
respect to-
the discretion of the staff to oversee lighting, because we did not talk about that at all.
that lighting be subject to staff approval?
The stone on the front of the building and this side,
The stone on the front of the building be
and
continued,
the east side.
wrapped around the southeast and eastern and north wall, or did you say all the way
No,
around?
I didn't go all the way around.
All the way around.
Just the, yeah, southeast and east, yep.
Southeast facing wall and the eastern wall, that the stone would wrap around that.
Mhm.
Okay. Is
Did
that
I
the
get
motion?
everything?
I think you did.
I think that's the motion.
Motion,
Second,
second by Mr. Zigmont. Further discussion? Then all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved. Okay. No, thank you. Thank you for your patience. Good to see everyone again. I know those benches are not forgiving, are they? All right. The last item is something that we've already continued, and that was for the re-subdivision application of Paul Pryor. I don't think we need another motion on that, right?
No.
Because it's all done. All righty. Planners' comments.
So
Yeah,
bid out this to you.
yeah, well, I gotta read it.
This is, so Alexa, in 2 sessions, I attended one session by, she did the session that went with this PowerPoint that was done by the planners, association. Thank you. I need words.
Yeah, all right.
By the Planners Association. The other one we attended was the one done by the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities. I believe they're posting their PowerPoint, which isn't going to be much different because they did it in collaboration, a lot of the same people speaking, but they're just all different. It gives you an overview. It talks about some of the things that are questionable or may have to be changed. There's one provision, it's the simplest of simple things to talk about, is they said over 16 units and under 16
Yes, you can't
units.
sleep
What
on
happens
it.
at 16 units? No,
You
that
have
one,
to have
16 wasn't
seven
included
and sleep.
in the text, so we're expecting that there are going to be some edits as
Yeah.
well as amendments to this during this session. The main takeaway is be patient with what the Public Act 25-1 says. The planners, the town managers, mayors, everyone, legislators are working on the content and how it applies to our commissions. And we're not rushing into having you make a change, a responsive change. We want to do it the right way the first time when we are making a responsive change, if we can. So, informational. We don't have a lot else to tell you about it right now, but yeah, and I was actually going to hand off to Alexa. We have a lot more. Oh, not at all. Oh, okay. So that's the main thing on that.
I-
Why? Because we know, you want to know.
Yeah,
All right.
I got two questions on it, on this. One, I just glancing through because I just got it, but I have very much concerns and the stuff that I glanced through and I'm hearing that our staff does too. Do we have a representative on this commission or,
This is the legislation. This is
right? But there's the
So
committee or something that,
So you, what's going to happen fundamentally, okay, is that your COG is going to prepare a regional housing growth plan. Okay. So your mayor, and I don't know if the town manager goes as well to the COG meetings, I'm assuming probably so. So they're going to be up to speed on how that process is kind of going along. Okay. Now, every municipality through their COG is going to be signed a percentage of affordable housing. We don't know, what that's going to be. Now, there was fair share numbers that were given for each municipality, and we have those for Berlin. Okay. But they're part of the housing growth plan is they're going to sign a number. Then you're going to have to decide within 30 days as a municipality whether or not you want to do your own plan. Okay. There's stuff that is as of right. There's and there's like a quick summary that we could do of, sort of the things that interest you. I do have the recording for the Conference of Municipalities webinar that they did and that PowerPoint, so I will circulate that to you as well. But it is a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot of uncertainty. And I think the important first step is just to, stay focused on what the COGs are doing, stay focused. OPM has a lot of things that they need to accomplish too, to meet the requirements of the statute, the Public Act, statutory changes rather. So you're going to continue to get information as we get good information.
I'm just asking.
This is
for all
just the
information I can,
beginning.
because I was on the Bristol CROG basically and the Central Connecticut CROG committees, and I see what happened there. And this is eye-opening as I read it. So I like to get all the information I can if I can I can bring it to our planner as I could.
Question, because I believe you were voted to attend. So I'm wondering if they've been holding them with the planners and you and for you. I mean, with the commission members, for you to attend. It was like,
Yeah, no, I haven't got any information. I haven't got any CROG stuff in a long time.
okay, double check that.
So you're our reps.
I guess I am.
So just
I am. Maybe that's why I got
one
concerned.
quick additional comment. So the CROG meeting, your COG meetings, they are typically on the COG's website. So, if you want to watch a recording, I don't know, I know the South Central, which is down in my neck of the woods, they have a housing working group. So they have those meetings, and they've taken like affordable housing road trips and things like that. And they've got videos of, different projects and whatnot. So look on, I mean, if you're, you want to know more, I suggest you look there.
Okay, because I just,
As well.
I known our regulations in our town, and seeing this and some of the stuff that I see popping up at me, brings me those concerns. And I think you have those same concerns if I read you right.
We all have concerns.
Right, right. I'm just,
Well, no, I mean, it's
It's
a
a-
lot of BS, but,
more of a state takeover.
A lot that is able to be worked through and understood as we work through each provision that's in there and what the towns have to do.
Is this somehow tied to what the town council just got us involved with at the train station, the transit? Yeah, that whole state thing where they want to come in and open our regs to see about this, about a half-mile
There you are.
radius.
There you
About
are.
Grayfield?
Station.
You're
Thank
talking
you for
about,
bringing that.
Just talked about this
you're
the
talking
first
about
time.
Municipal Housing Authority?
No, the council,
Yeah.
I don't know. What? I'm sorry?
They both have ties to the transit. However, and again,
Is this like a back door to this whole thing?
I think they're just coming from different angles
Yeah, they're coming in.
of transit oriented. You have a train station, so there's lots that can be done. You do have TOD regs already. You know, we have the village district, we have those things, and how that meets or doesn't meet and might be modified to be particular to what the CDMA is, which, as we discussed at the last meeting, it really opens up funding possibilities at this point, but really that's an investigative. The town hasn't signed up, they've signed up to see if it's
have-
right.
Well, see that,
Yes, that's.
So that's basically, I went to an affordable housing funding seminar that was held by the Association of Municipal Attorneys a couple months back, and there was a representative from the Grayfields grant program. There are a number of municipalities that have entered into an agreement, and that is what they do. You have to agree to have amendments done to your regulations, to your zoning regulations. That's part of the deal to get the financing through that program.
but
And they have like $98 million initially, but they have a number of municipalities already signed up. So the question was at that time was how many more municipalities they could actually take on.
Yeah.
I have information on that. I'll share that with you because I have, sort of more details, if you
I
will.
think the numbers we talked about last time, there was 34 towns signed up, but there's 169 towns. And my fear is that, or my concern, is that they come in and start to rewrite all of these regs. And then because they're dangling the magic money carrot, everybody's jumping to take a piece of it, not knowing how much it's really gonna cost the town in the end.
Yeah.
It's our
Because there's always-
decision though, right? It's this commission's decision.
Well, no, the town council already decided it.
Well, that's,
They,
zoning regs
they
themselves.
decided for them to come in and talk to us, not that we,
but we
that
haven't been
we
talked,
accept this.
Opted in.
we haven't been talked to. The commission here hasn't been talked to, which is the regulated body.
What I understand, the commission, what I understand, the council opted in because they want to hear it.
Yes.
Provide them information.
But that,
You know,
Oh.
my concerns on this, thank you for bringing it up, is that we have couple large piece of properties next to that train station, Berlin Steel, and a couple other ones all the way over to Brickyard Lane. That is my concern of what they will think to go do with that property above us. Okay?
Just have-
That's why, opting into this without us getting notified and without us being the regulatory body, notified and questioned to us or see what our opinion is, it's a little sore on me. And I'm afraid what they will do that area there. We have our regulations for that area and what we can do and everything else. And if you really think down in our heads, we probably see something, but it's just another body coming in and stepping on us is more than anything else.
Well, it's a concern, and I just was wondering how these two mechanisms are floating at the same time and how they're gonna overlap and I just thought it was interesting that it's all just happening like this. But be that as it may, I guess I'll have,
Two things to say.
Yes.
Correct myself, it's CMDA. Are you gonna keep
That's
the D
okay.
first? Connecticut Municipal Development Authority. And we did, substantially discuss it last time. But I'll point you back to the handout. And again, my understanding as well is zoning, and step 3, zoning remains a local process. You retain all local control to establish a development district. CMDA will review your zoning in the areas around your train or bus rapid transit station and or in your downtown. CMDA will certify if those zones are likely to substantially increase the production of new dwelling units, and these certified zones will make up the municipality's housing growth zone. And that's what housing growth, if it becomes a housing growth zone, then opens up financing opportunities for redevelopment. Fields, particularly areas to be redeveloped. It has been a discussion, I'm not sure which one of you said it, but around the train station where we have either defunct or substantially underutilized industrial, particularly Berlin steel. I think it's in the POCD as to whether that would be a place for another mixed-use development, housing, which would include housing as well. And that's something that, you've already identified. So there may be elements of this that you've already identified and you're already having your vision for whether the regs fit their criteria for financing to get the job done, if that's the job that wants to be done. But, the mantra we're hearing is that the zoning is still the town zoning. You still are statutorily those that are
Well, I hope it stays that way, but I don't think.
so.
zoning. So I'm the messenger.
Oh, and
Oh, we won't,
Messenger.
we won't shoot you.
26th of March, last Thursday of March, after.
6th of March.
You can tell Ashley at
You can
another
tell.
day if you want.
Yeah, just the day after my wife's birthday, so I don't, maybe.
Oh.
Maybe.
That could be dangerous or it could be fine.
They're a
That's
little-
what she gets for her birthday. Anyway, anything else?
Yeah, we have a couple of other things. Alexa,
Okay.
one of them.
New Park, which is,
The Berlin Turnpike over here.
okay,
Donut.
okay,
Just south of Orchard Road.
yeah.
They add this mechanical equipment in the back. You want them to come in.
It's.
That's an
it's-
industrial
no,
area. I'd
it's-
say just staff.
Staff could do it. Lighten our load a little bit, because it doesn't look like it's gonna.
That's an industrial park.
What is it?
Well, it's not that close to residential either.
No,
I think that's industrial behind them too, or it's open.
Over there, those are houses over there.
The big
Quincy Trail.
the wooded area.
just pay attention to whatever, the sound of them. Make sure they might need a little
Now, what do
screening
they
or
want to put
something.
in?
Sound.
What do they want to do?
They're just doing mechanical stuff.
That's what.
They need some mechanical equipment to do what they do.
Again,
Yeah.
just check out the noise.
It was
I mean,
my
Yeah.
attention this
Yeah, I think they can
Is
handle.
there any
it.
smells in there? We don't want another bright feet thing.
Yeah, no more bright feeds.
Just to get. dark spots on the back of the building. I believe would be the, right,
Vaporizer,
the structures. What mechanical equipment is considered a structure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just that smaller structure there.
Three.
Three attached to the back of the building.
Yeah. I say just pay attention to
You know,
decibels, worst case scenario. They might need to put a
Enlarge it too,
little sound barrier in or something.
settings. Well, no, I do. I like red for Valentine's Day, and green for, you know, I do it all the time. And I have a big one because I always lose really. Okay, is there any,
Building department. So we have two other things, just this is a heads up. Orsini has asked, Orsini has the Acura dealership, the two commercial buildings out front, and then the residential units. At the time of their approval, they're on a total of 18 acres. The BTD zone called for a minimum of 10 acres. When fast forward 2 years approximately, when we had the consultant analysis and scrutiny of that, the BT 2008, the Adios project come through, it was determined that the intent was that as long as each lot met the underlying zone acreage, that the lot could be divided. And thus, Adios project has a lot for the hotel, a lot for the residential, et cetera. Orsini's is all considered one lot. He'd like to come in for, I believe it'll be subdivision approval. I haven't looked at the history of the lot, but it was a merger. I think they already, I don't think they'll be eligible for a free split, but he's talking about coming in for a subdivision approval. I think it does need subdivision or approval by the commission to acknowledge that the interpretation was evolved, or not. It's 18 acres. The underlying zone is 2, so like, I think, again, I think it does come back to financing, although I can't guarantee that that's the reason. It doesn't tell you all their reasoning in the background, but you know, you can get financing for residential, you can get financing for your commercial use, but getting financing for a mixed use is a little more tricky when they are separate phases or separate areas of a parcel. So I just want to, I guess, feedback, that's the advice we're going to give him, but unless you have other feedback or anybody recalls something different. I wasn't here or wasn't primary staff of his initial. I think I did it. So that sounds like a reasonable come back. Will supersede that condition that it had to be one lot. Will end up being called for the lots all to be merged. Then, so that would really be the change, is special permit has to be modified of that condition.
So that should be like housekeeping, that's all.
Yeah, except I think it will be a I don't know what he wants to do
Yeah.
completely, but I think he wants to subdivide, which is a subdivision approval, and obviously you see subdivision.
All right, okay.
But it was presented to me and I said, well, you know what, let me run it past the commission.
Okay.
This one's a little different and it just came to me today. United Methodist Church at Hotchkiss Street and Church Street.
Okay.
Everybody know that?
Hotchkiss, yes. Yeah.
What is that?
It's a little side.
Kensington Methodist. They have gun work on installing mechanical units mounted on the front wall along Church Street. Building department said you don't have permits, and I think P&Z needs to, planning and zoning needs to look at this, whether it's commission or staff at the least.
Yeah, because
it
on
is
Church Street, that's the front of the church, right?
Well, it's the side front.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's a tight knit, that's a,
that's a real tight fit.
yeah. especially with all the residential, that's a,
Yeah.
What are they
that's a
putting
little-
it's like an R15 residential neighborhood.
They're putting, I think it's R7, they're putting in mechanicals, which means.
One of the building inspectors sent pictures today,
Good.
but I just got them at like 5, so right before this meeting, all of them. Because, so that's, they're written, sent in to Alexis, and she gets, I don't know. Just sent here.
Just think, Alexa, tomorrow's Friday.
So the
She looks so
scaffolding's on
happy.
the building
It's a half
too,
a
so
day.
that's a little bit of a distraction. When she pulls up the picture, you'll see the scaffolding as well.
Driveway side, exit driveway up the side.
I don't know, I mean, that's right on the corner, Church and Hoskins, right?
Yeah, backside.
Well, then you're into a home, aren't you into a home?
Your
They
home's
got
all
the
around
parking
it.
lot, yeah, well, they got the nursery school there too.
The trade-off, the street side or. Chemical unit.
And they put it on the street side.
So this is street side, you see the, what I would call the
Yeah.
historical church, I don't know that it's historic, but. The church itself, and this was probably a 60s edition, it's probably the offices, classrooms, whatever else they have inside.
Oh, they really did some big ones there, huh? Why'd they have to put them up so high?
Units look like he's.
Because they couldn't put them on the ground.
I
Yeah,
was
they couldn't put 'em on the ground to
listening
screen 'em?
to a debate with the contractor and the building officials as to whether
Are they apartments
they
in there?
could go on the roof. Again, his feeling was they would be extend way beyond the.
Madam Chair, I can't hear a word.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I leaned
No, I'm
back
sorry, Maureen. No, I just can't hear.
and I have no voice.
I know, I'm sorry.
Very raspy. So, the building inspectors called this to our attention. He had, the contractor was having, interesting discussion with the building inspectors as to whether, it was appropriate to, or able even to put them on the roof. But one of the comments made by the contractor is they would extend quite high on the roof. And I think the size depicted in the second picture is kind of telling as to
Yeah.
how large that is. They're lined up with the higher. I'm not,
Yeah, that, or even if they lowered them to the ground, they could put bushes or something in front.
so the concern about putting them down at ground level is the children. That's the main door used to come into the, from the buses, I guess, or when they get dropped, kids get dropped
So-
off for classes.
So Maureen, what is it? Just that it's aesthetically not pleasing to somebody?
they don't have a permit to do it, so now they got caught, so it's a
Well,
question.
was a permit ever pulled?
Well,
No, they were told to come in for a permit, so that's what today was. So it's these are the partial install of several units across that wall. I don't remember how many units. I don't think you were in that conversation.
I don't know.
So,
They're
is it
doing
just
a lot of mechanical work.
So is it just a matter of them pulling a permit, or what's the real truth behind this?
Is that these are structures attached on the building. The commission has the right to review, mechanicals and screening thereof and design. It's not within one of the design districts, but when you look at a site plan, you do evaluate where the mechanicals are and how they're associated with the structure. I don't know what a solution is if they don't put them there. We haven't. If they were to remove them, I don't know what has already been penetrated through the wall. We just don't know. Or is
Are all of
it
them?
part
So-
of doing business that you have to have mechanicals and you're
So the question-
okay with
so
it? That
I
could
just
be
have a-
your
I
answer
have a-
too.
I just have a quick question then. If a permit was pulled recently or whatever, in a case like this, and those are where they decided to put them because that would be the beneficial place to put them. I don't understand the problem.
The problem is.
So if they had if they had applied for a permit, the building department would have routed it to the zoning department, and we would have evaluated whether or not it needed site plan approval and or discussion by the commission on where the mechanicals are and their related screening. You might recall whenever you look at a new construction or additions, that you do generally look at are mechanicals on a roof behind a parapet? What's the
Yeah.
sight line from the street? Which is all addressed in the regulations. Also you look at whether, or if they're on the ground, are they screened? Is a chain link fence with little slats, or is it, a stockade fence of
No, I
some other
understand.
material? So
They kind of just went ahead and did these and.
they started the work. They
they
didn't
started
do
the
them all,
work,
but they
and
haven't.
We found out about it
They were stopped.
Did you
and
find out?
they were stopped.
Sorry, did you find out if a neighbor complained or was there a complaint? Or
I believe it was our building inspectors who are very,
Fine.
like, they see stuff. Or they could have come in for the permit. It might have been that, like, the electrician came in for his portion of the permit and it triggered the
Yeah.
questions. I really don't know. I was asked to step into the building department and
I don't know.
So worst case
no, it
scenario,
was related to this. It was related to the mechanical unit.
Go ahead, Scotty.
just worst case scenario in a case like this, what's, what, they gotta move them?
You don't know what
Yeah, but the
damages
problem
are
is
done to
where
the
do you
wall.
move them to?
Well, that's the other issue. I mean, what, our building department and all of us on the commission, we're not HVAC people, I would think. So if this is probably the best place to put them, I mean, that's where they go.
I just hope they don't fall down and hit something.
No, if they fall down, then we'll get free ones.
We're gonna pull up the street view so you can see what,
They don't weigh that much. They're pretty well bolted in there.
I always get worried of stuff hanging off a building.
frequently when someone comes in and, we say, hey, can you tuck it around the other side on the parking lot side, something.
Yeah.
You've
So
put
this
those,
is the side of the building they're on. You saw the front of the church facing
Yeah.
the other road. Where it was? Hotchkiss Street. This is going down Church Street. You want to go further down street so we can see about the other, Commissioner Millard mentioned that that on the other sides, the houses may be much closer. And that may be a different, a concern that outweighs where they're being put here. And or if you want them to come in.
They're a church. I don't want to beat them up.
No, what are you gonna do? Tell them God's gonna get mad at us.
That's-
I got enough shit going on in my life.
They got the bigger approval.
We're go around the back.
Give it to them. God said it was okay.
You can go a little further. We can.
I mean, I guess it's just a matter of who doesn't like it there.
So there's the house next door. and
There's next door.
You really can't tell what,
All right, so
I
that's.
wouldn't worry. It's gonna be the street noise and everything. I would leave it where it is. Don't make them come in. How many are they gonna put? Are they
yeah,
gonna
no,
put-
we didn't want to sign off on it.
How many,
But
yeah.
How many
You guys can.
are they gonna? They're not gonna go around the building, right? Is it just? in
I
the front?
believe they're all on that side. I don't remember how many he said.
For the
Yeah,
noises.
I mean, it's not
That's
gonna
what
make the
street
building
noise is.
attractive, but what are you gonna do? On the other side, they would be.
Obviously, they're not worried about what the aesthetics look like, so God likes it. His children are being air conditioned.
Oh, Lord.
That's what God. come on.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Jesus.
He's a bigger power than all of us.
Stay on his good side.
Yeah.
Yes, always stay on
I wanna make it home and sleep
Okay.
through the night.
You all us up with the coming housing.
All right. Is that it?
Double check. Yes.
Started 6 and we still get
Uh,
here.
Okay, so that's that.
My consensus is.
Let-
don't sign off.
Yeah, let him go ahead, but I,
You said last.
we don't want
Why you guys were already at
yeah.
public hearings. Whatever.
Okay, with that
Yeah.
being said, it's
When's the
nine
dinner?
I don't
twenty-seven.
want that.
Yeah.
Is that right, Alexa? All right, it's 9:24. Can I entertain a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Ms. Daly. Do we have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Ms. Jorsey. Okay.
Scott can have.
Scott Hamill can have
just
the
ready to go
second.
home.
Yes, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, so moved. Thank
Good
you,
night.
everyone.
Oh, I completely forgot this third.
Buddy.